Hello, everyone, and welcome to the weekly show. The first weekly show in over 7 years. And I can hear us twice. This is a good start.
Is a great start. Hello, everyone.
What do you reckon's turned up? Should we have a bet? It's not. It's not Beam.
Hello, everyone. No.
It's not Facebook.
Okay.
I reckon it's Twitch.
Twitch. We're looking at you, Twitch.
It's not Facebook.
Okay.
I reckon it's Twitch.
Twitch. This is so exciting, guys.
Twitch, you let us down. You fucked it, Twitch.
Smack on the wrist,
You
Twitch.
fucked it. You let us down, Twitch. You let us down.
First time we've gone live with the weekly show, and Twitch, you just...
fucked it. You made us look unprofessional, you twats. Okay. So that's the first. It's the very first weekly show in over 7 years. The last weekly show was filmed in London.
In London.
It finished on a high. Unfortunately, due to my health, etc. For those that are just coming back and watching us again, because I'm hoping a lot of the old weekly show fan base will come back and start watching us again.
If so, hi.
I just got sick, and unfortunately, I couldn't do it anymore. I've had to move country. Lots of stuff's going on. I won't go into that on the weekly show, but if you ever want to find out, just come watch our streams that we do during the week, and we can talk about it there. I'm also obviously joined by my lovely co-host, KittenCog. Let's give a round of applause, everybody.
I'm new here. Be nice. Well, as nice as you can be, I guess.
It's the 14th anniversary for me and my wife. Oh, hello there. Welcome
hello. Oh, that's amazing.
That is amazing.
What's the secret? Tell us your secrets.
There we go. There it is. There's the cheers. That's the KittenCog. Welcome, everybody. Welcome in. Okay, so as I said, this is the very first. Welcome, everybody. Hello, Red Side. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone.
Hello, from the Red Side.
So it's the very first weekly show in over 7 years. We're going to be doing what we've always done, is basically just cover popular culture. The nice side of it, the shit side of it. We obviously do give a very neutral opinion because it's the best way to be, because it means you can take the piss out of everybody, which we will be doing tonight. Don't worry about that. We're going to be doing a mixture.
Changed.
No, nothing's changed. It's going to keep it exactly the same. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But we're going to start with what we've always done again, something nice to kick us off with. And then we've got a nice jumble of movies, games, the normal shit. Okay.
We're going to dive in deep, guys. We're going to dive in deep.
Happy wife, happy life in Dutch frying pans. I like it.
Oh, that's what I like to hear.
Don't take the piss out of me. I'm a fragile little flower. Oh, dear. Well, no, you're definitely going to get it first then, mate. For those that are, again, new to the weekly show, we don't do... Unfortunately, we can't do musical alerts or anything like that because we will get demonetized, because we are live on Facebook and on YouTube as well tonight. So we have to keep it very basic bitch. So we do have sound effects, but we can't do loud and proud music stuff like we normally do on Twitch and Kick, because we will just get demonetized. We'll get, our wrist slapped, etc. So
be a big old naughty.
But we do still get we get some fun stuff still, because obviously when somebody says something stupid. Somebody says something, and when Cog's a little bit untoward when it comes to giving me compliments. Ha! Gay! Okay. I do agree with you, Toad, but unfortunately it's where all our audience is, so we have to go live on Facebook, which is, it is what it is.
It's what it is, what it is. What it is, what it is.
Okay. So, starting with it, we're not starting with Penguin. We're doing something a bit wholesome. So for those that don't know or are not on TikTok, etc., this nice gent here who does the Royal Armouries Museum in Leeds, which is in the UK, he's done a funny little skit using Gen Z language to try and entice people to come to their museum.
Oh, that's amazing.
Which is pretty cool. Now, he seems like a lovely chap. He made a nice little statement. Unfortunately, I can't find a nice little statement. I found it yesterday, but I can't find it today. I don't know what's up with that.
Oh, boo.
Made a lovely little statement when he found out he went viral. It's very wholesome, so I'm going to give it a watch now. See what you guys think. This is going to be me in like 4 years' time. Obviously, if you can't hear anything, let me know. I don't think you can hear that, so bear with me. I don't think you can hear that, guys. I don't think you can hear nothing. There we go. Should be able to hear that, though. Let me know.
Brat summer is over, bestie. It's time to enter your historical era. The Royal Armouries is the most Sigma day out in Leeds. No cap. Slay. Small. The line armour is serving main character energy. Pop off, Queen. Henry VIII is the original Rizzler. His codpiece hits different. This is the largest display of arms and armour since the 19th century. Very based. Chat. This diorama is sending me. Dioramas are lit. Our calf ate and left no crumbs. For real. Negative aura points if you miss the gift shop. Our tote bags understood the assignment. What are you waiting for? The vibes are immaculate. Enjoy a goated day out. Slay.
Oh, bless him. You feel your brain rot. Yeah, it is a little bit brain rot, but it's also really wholesome. I mean, there's not a lot of wholesome stuff on the internet at the moment.
I've got to say, his slang was on point. I think
was on point.
I think he's speaking more trendy than some of the young'uns now.
I think he got it all right. I don't think he made any mistakes. But hopefully it will it'll entice people to go to the museum, because again, there's a lot of museums in and around the UK that are unfortunately not getting a lot of foot traffic because people don't want to go to museums anymore. And it's a shame because you can learn a lot in a museum.
Well, even not just that, it's just the amusements of walking around. You go with your friends. I love going to a museum.
I don't think you go with your friends, Cog. I don't think it's like somewhere you go with your mates. You know what we should do, yeah? We should 100% go to the Science Museum because I got this lit in there, bruv.
Oh, my God.
It's like, we can go in there, right? Put in our like iPods, yeah?
Yeah.
I know that sort of thing anymore. Then we can have like a silent rave. Then 2008 called, they won their fucking silent raves back. All right.
That was very wholesome. Very
cool.
wholesome.
Okay, so again, more brain rot because it's pretty bullshit. But again, we don't really like talking politics on the channel. But this pissed me off today or yesterday whenever this came out.
I'm furious about this.
This is an old article because the BBC covered it first. And what we like to do, and what we've always done on a weekly show, we always get trash websites up because their opinions are always so fucked, and we get to take the piss out of them. So obviously, one of the main culprits of this is the BBC, because the BBC talk reams of bullshit on a daily basis.
What a shock!
What a shock! And this is people you pay your TV license to. So, according to the BBC, Keir Starmer, our Lord and Saviour, has decided to put a junk food ban on the UK going from next year. So what this means is that you won't be able to see any junk food ads on TV until after the 9 p.m. watershed. Now, this is to battle obesity in the UK. Now, like, I'm just putting it out there, Keir, because I'm not really a politician, so I wouldn't know. But I'm pretty sure if you maybe brought down the cost of living, people wouldn't have to, eat junk food. They'd probably eat better food, live healthily, and wouldn't stress eat, because that's probably what you're making them do on a daily basis because of all the bullshit you keep putting into the general public.
Facts.
Just putting it out there. Just putting it out there. When you've got a happy populace, you have less heart disease, you have less depression, less mental health issues. The numbers don't lie. You go to some of the Scandinavian countries, they've got some of the lowest suicide rates in the world. They're just happy populace, get on with it. It's because they believe in their government and they don't take shit.
Drop mic.
Drop mic.
That's all I can say to that one. I mean, I love my junk food. We love our junk food from time to time. The best part of those is always the adverts, though. The adverts are what entice you to want to try these new things. And we should always have that experimentation going. I don't think if they stop the adverts, it's going to...
Hey, Cobb, you're never going to find out about junk food again because you're in bed by 8 o'clock.
It'd be a sad time.
Right. So, here we go.
What do you guys think of that? Do you think that's a bit ridiculous? We think that's ridiculous. There'll just be no adverts before long, I don't think. I think adverts will become nothing.
Homework for you, Cog. I need to find a better way of lining up the articles because it's really confusing.
Okay.
Like, really confused. I'm so confused right now.
I'm so confused.
I don't know what's going on.
I trust you do one thing by yourself, Dan, and this is what happens.
Well, you know what I'm like. Give me a sec, guys. Just got to sort this out. Again, this is the very first show. There's always teething problems.
Always.
Never goes right first time. You know what I'm saying? You know me sending random messages of shit I see about food. It'll be fine. Well, there we go then. We're still in the know. This is all good. We're so early today. I'm having to drink my medicine on stream. Oh, that's out. Right. Okay. So the next thing we're talking about, because we've got a list. Hello, list. Right. It is Lara Croft. Okay. Cool. Lara Croft, eh?
I've heard many different opinions on this. I'm waiting to hear yours, of course. If you guys know of the Lara Croft trailer.
Can I be honest? I've not watched the trailer.
Dan!
I've not watched the trailer. I've seen the pictures. I've seen the animation.
So this is going to be first time that you see this on the weekly show.
It is, yeah. I feel really unprepared. I'm normally really prepared for this, but today I am not prepared.
If you've seen the trailer, guys.
Welcome in, Angel. So we, again, as we said today, we might as well do this again while I'm faffing around. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, Kick, Twitch, and of course, most importantly, Beam. Without Beam, we wouldn't be able to multicast. If you haven't checked out Beam already, guys, make sure you go check out the website. It's absolutely amazing, really beautiful community, and the CEO's quite a nice fella as well. He's all right.
He's all right?
Can be a dick sometimes, but mostly, I'd say a good 60% of the time. Okay. Right, this is not working. Again.
Do you need help with the trailer?
Do I need help with the trailer? You're going to pick it up for me?
Yeah.
Pick me up the trailer.
I'll try and find it for you.
No, I've got it.
Oh, awesome.
I've got it. Just going to give it a bit of a stretch.
Bit of a stretch.
Yeah, a bit of a stretch.
But thanks to everybody that's been fans of the weekly show for the many years that it was running for. I'm really appreciative that you've been so welcoming to me joining. So I just want to say thank you to anybody that's been really lovely about that. All right then. There we go.
Okay, so here we go. Again, I'm not seeing this. Apologies. So what we're going to do is we've got multiple screens. We've got multiple angles of the studio. Okay.
Ooh.
So I'm not going to show you Studio 2 yet, but I am going to show you what we call a screen studio, so we can make this all big.
Ooh.
Oi, oi. See what I did there? And you got us two there, and then we can watch it in a large format.
Oh my
Isn't it
god!
clever?
Wow! Look, we're so tiny on the screen. It's so tiny.
Well, we don't want to distract them from the trailer.
I know.
Oh, thanks, Adblocker. I appreciate you, man. See? Even sorry, I'll just pause that there for a second. What is up with the guy's voice that's doing the narration in the background? Why does he sound like he's constipated?
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
What is it? Either that or he's heavily inebriated. Hold on again. Right, Jonah is an islander, right?
Yes.
He's like from New Zealand or something like that. I'm not quite sure. I know he's an islander though. Why does Lara look like she's from the islands as well? So Jonah and Lara look exactly the same. Now, last time I checked, isn't Lara like from Kent?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm pretty sure.
The reason why she hasn't got an accent is because she comes from Kent.
This isn't a different Lara Croft. This isn't like another generation of Lara Croft.
Is this like
it?
Lara Croft that comes from Kiwi? Let me wind this back.
Just there.
Oh, fuck it. There, look. She looks exactly like Jonah. What the fuck?
Wait, they're not related in this version, are they?
No, he's just a simp for Lara Croft that follows her around
so
everywhere.
we're clear. I just thought
He's
for a moment.
like Johnny Quest. He's like Harji.
Exactly, yeah.
He's like the sidekick.
That's what
That's
I thought.
really fucking annoying and pops up everywhere, and
Oh my gosh.
he's like Harji.
So far.
It's not good.
October 10th. Okay, take a breather a second.
All right, one of the most endearing things about Lara Croft is when we were growing up, I had it on PS1. I remember triangle tits. This is before she had curves. She was literally just polygons, right?
Yeah.
She never came across as what we now call, unfortunately, I hate the term, girl boss. She was just a badass. She was just, she knew her limits, but was still a badass. And I feel that just like watching it, I mean, I could be way off base here, guys, but I just feel like just by watching a trailer, I feel like it's giving the wrong version of Lara Croft that we all know and love. Again, Lara Croft as a whole is a very well-written character. Yeah, just a very well-written female lead, and I'm worried that watching that, they just made her very one-dimensional. Again, I could be wrong. It's just a trailer, isn't it?
I am getting slight vibes from the same animators that perhaps could have done the upgraded Masters of the Universe. I feel like they're going the same look and dynamic as that.
The animation does look very similar.
They do look very
probably
similar.
The same studio.
I reckon it could be. In that case...
In fact, let's look that up.
Let's have a little look.
Instead of surmising...
Let's see if that is the case.
Let's see if it's true.
If that is the case, I have a little bit of hope for it, because the first season of the Masters of the Universe, the revamped series, wasn't that great, and they made it very girl boss heavy, as the term you don't like. And then the second season, they really found their feet, and it became this amazing series. So maybe they're testing the waters with Lara Croft, and if it gets picked up for a second season, we might get the Lara Croft that we're so familiar with. But I could be wrong.
I was Hayley Atwell doing the voice of Lara.
Oh, really?
Alien Maldonado's doing the voice of
her brother.
sidekick.
I mean, her sidekick.
Balon is the villain.
Oh, okay.
You can't hear us, mate. Can you hear us now?
Can you hear us now?
Hello?
Or we're just very quiet.
Okay, give us a crank. Hold on. Hello?
Give it a bit of a crank.
Hello? Hello?
There you go. Yeah, says better. Awesome stuff. Thanks, guys.
But yeah, like, again, well-written character. Doesn't really need, or I've never really bought what I'd call girl boss energy, but I feel like that's now bringing girl boss energy. Which is a shame. Because, yeah, what made Lara Croft endearing is the fact that she fucks up quite a lot, like any adventurer does. You know, Nathan Drake, Indiana Jones, they all fuck up. They're not perfect. They fuck up all the time. And one of the things about Lara Croft is that, except for maybe the Angelina Jolie, I think she even fucks up in that.
Yeah, she does.
It just shows that they're human, you know, and they're not invincible. They're not impervious to bullets. They can still get shot, etc. And you know, people around them die. And I think it humanises them as characters, so you feel like more of an affinity towards them instead of them just being invincible or knowing everything or just not, you know, that kind of thing.
I always got the impression from Lara Croft she was a fearless leader. She had no fear. She was
the original Alloy.
Yeah, exactly.
Not during the video, but just then, but fine. All right, no worries. We'll sort out the levels. Thanks for letting us know. Thanks for letting us know, guys.
Thanks for letting us know.
Okay. So for those just joining us, welcome in. This is our very first weekly show, so please forgive the technical issues. A lot of moving parts in this, guys, and there's only two of us, and I'm running everything, and it's a bit mad. So I can't remember the last time I've had so many screens in front of me.
Well, 7-8 years to be precise.
Yeah, yeah. But again, I was just presenter and producer. I didn't do any of this side of it. I had a team to do all this for me. So again, I'm still learning
the ropes.
Learning the ropes. So if there are any technical issues, i.e. there are sound issues or we cut out or we're not big enough or whatever, just say in chat, Dan, we can't hear you, Cog, we can't hear you, and then we'll try and sort it out as best as we can. So we do appreciate it. Thank you.
But agreed with what I was saying, yeah. I do believe that Lara Croft is definitely one of the most fearless leading characters in general. Like, everybody's talking about female leads and that there was never female leads, and it's like, oh my gosh, there's been so many, Lara Croft being one of them. And I have hope for the show. I do believe that they're going to probably put a spin on it that might make younger audiences more interested to learn about Lara Croft or the older games. Of course, we have a nostalgia and a love for her, but maybe it'll have a different side to her that we haven't seen before. But like you said, the only downfall it could be is that they've made her completely unrecognisable, someone that isn't like Lara Croft should be, you know, being from Kent instead of wherever they're making her look like she's from now. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, in the latest iterations of Tomb Raider, they have made her look darker. I don't know why. Again, she's very much a white girl from Kent.
Yeah.
I mean, like she's a horsey girl. You know, Daddy buys her horses, that kind of thing.
And she becomes this tough.
But yeah, then through her journey, etc., she ends up becoming tough and Lara Croft basically. But she doesn't start off like that. She starts off as a prissy little princess, especially if you read the comics and the books. So she's a completely different entity. Female Batman. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, her family's got a lot of money. She lives in a big manor house. But again, I don't understand why they've changed. Again, I don't like talking about race because it's bullshit to me anyway. But I don't understand why they feel that they can't just make her a brunette like they do in the first game. You know. She's a horsey girl. Why can't she be like a femme fatale white girl from Kent? Why she got to look like she's from the Greek islands or the islands? Because she looks exactly like her mate. It could be like there's one or two things. Like knowing animation, it's either they're being lazy with the animation. It is much easier to put a darker skin tone, especially in darker areas of animation. It is to put a lighter skin tone in. So again, it could be down to lazy animation. Who knows? In this day and age, who fucking knows? But just putting it out there. So it might not be what we think it's trying to adhere to. It could just be the animation studios just being lazy fucks. Because what they're trying to do is pump out as much animation as they can towards the end of this year. And then they've got several releases in the new year as well. And again, I think it's all the same animation station from what I can see. So I don't think it's a very big studio. So when you're a medium-sized animation studio, you've only got so much output. So you've got to cut corners when you're doing animation. They do a lot of it. They do a lot of this kind of tactic in anime as well, where they just show you the same still shot and just pan across it. Or they do when they're doing a conversation, they'll probably show you the backs of the characters' heads, so they don't have to animate the faces. There's loads and loads of tricks they do. You probably notice it a lot in anime because, again, a lot of anime studios, they're very, very tiny. There's probably only 30 or 40 people working in there. And if they've got to have a high output, they've got to cut corners to make sure they get the episodes out on time.
They have to be creative with what they've got limited of their animation, I guess.
She works working class First Nations. Right, okay, there's another one as well. We wasn't going to do this one, but because Calandra brought it up yesterday, we'll also watch the...
this guy!
This is the Devil May Cry trailer. Okay, so I think we can, except for maybe Arcane, which was very well received, as far as I know. I've not heard any bad things about it. It's only got a 2-season run. I'm not sure why it got cut short. I think a lot of it's due to the fact the amount it costs to make, because it's a very, very expensive style of animation. It's fantastically beautiful, though. The first season it blew my mind how good the animation was.
Stunning.
Again, and the soundtrack, everything about it was great. I loved it. It was a great introduction to the League of Legends universe. But again, it's only got 2 seasons, and that's it. We won't get any more.
Boo.
Unless they end up deciding to do a spin-off, I'm not really sure. There's been no news of it yet, though. Controversial thing about this. What's the controversial thing, mate?
What did we miss?
We like
from the trailer?
controversy. It doesn't look particularly good, though, does it?
It didn't grab my attention, let's put it that way. I feel that there's been a lot of revamps, comebacks to a lot of things that we know very well, and you'd think that they'd put that little bit of extra time and love into them to make sure that they come across that way, but maybe it's just a refresh entirely. That, like we said with Lara Croft, it could be just that they're changing the entire plot point so it's something completely new to what we've seen before.
Play deleted scene. So it looks like they're going through all the gaming IPs. So we got a Splinter Cell, we've got Devil May Cry, and we got Lara Croft.
Yes.
Tomb Raider. I'm not sure why they've decided to do this, Netflix. I think that they are struggling with content at the moment. I wouldn't say animation is probably the best route to go, but if they found an inexpensive way of making shows and animation, they're going to take it because they're so far in the red now. Their model of how they release and make films and shows, etc., is unsustainable. They can't keep I mean, they are throwing millions and millions of pounds at shows every year, and there's no way they can sustain this kind of model. I reckon we'll probably see by 2030 that they'll either have to seriously ramp back production, or they'll be getting outside sources in to come do it for them, or they'll make an even more expensive advert-free tier. So instead of charging you 22, or well, I think it was 18, 19 pounds or dollars now for the advert-free tier, it'll be $30 to $40 for the advert-free, and then there'll be different tiers underneath for different amount of ads. So like the ones with like crazy amount of ads in like every 10-15 minutes would probably be the lowest. Then it'll be a mid-tier, and then a middle mid-tier, and then a high tier. So they give you the illusion that you have choice where you have none at all, because you're still getting ads no matter what.
But if Lara Croft is the start of the games being adapted into cartoons, is there a particular game that you'd like to see made into a cartoon or an animated format?
Well, Zarbeck says Rayman. See, Rayman, there was a Rayman cartoon in the works, but then Ubisoft turned it into that weird show with the... It looked like Dragon Force or...
Oh, I think I know which one you
Cult
mean.
of the Dragon, whatever it was called. They made a game about it. It was like a spin-off of a Far Cry game, where it was very cyberpunk. And they just ended up making that, and they put Rayman in that, but they made him a cokehead for whatever fucking reason. So he's a drug addict that's addicted to prostitutes, and that's what they've done to Rayman. So,
And
yeah, it's also on Netflix, mate. It's also a Netflix show. Just putting it out there. I can't remember the name of it. I will find out in a second for you.
I will give Netflix the benefit of the doubt there was something. I do feel that Netflix are giving chances to more smaller animated studios and to smaller ideas that we really need to embrace at the moment with all of the stories going on. I feel like they're actually supporting animators to get some more content out there. So in that regard, I'm all for Netflix trying to get some more animation out there, but at the same time, maybe consider, instead of remake, something original.
Johnny Young, Calandra says Johnny Young Bosch, the voice actor for Dante, he already voices Nero, Vigil's son, who's the main character in the games and stories. So him being Dante is strange. That the reason for it is that the VA for Dante that was meant to voice him, same from the games, was cancelled and run off the internet due to him being a very outspoken person who claims COVID is a bioweapon and vaccines are secret ways the government are trying to infect people from mind control, etc., etc.
Oh.
I mean, if it is true, I wouldn't mind that because I wouldn't have to think anymore, because that would probably save me a lot of time. I hate my fucking brain. So
I think
if
we
there's
all
a way
do.
of shutting it off for like an hour a day, I'd love that. Falls, we appreciate you, mate. Look at some of the animation. It's just rubbish. See Stars Visions for further details. Star Wars Visions. Yeah. Some of the animation doesn't need a chance. It just needs to go away. Exactly, mate. I mean, again, it's cut and run animation. It's done on the cheap. just so they've got content out there, and then they're hoping that the fans of the shows will then pick it up and watch it because they're fans of the IP. But unfortunately, it doesn't work like that.
No.
And it doesn't look like they're ever going to learn from their mistakes. So we're going to get the same posh
Copy and paste
animation. So hold on, it was a show with Rayman in, I think it was 2023. It could have been this year though. No. I mean, let's put Netflix in it. I know it exists. I've watched 2 episodes of it.
Did they eventually have
There we
a whole
go.
season?
Captain Laser Hawk, a Blood Dragon. So sorry, it was Blood Dragon. So Blood Dragon's a spin-off of a Fallout game. I think it was I want to say 3, might have been 4. Of Far Cry, not Fallout. Sorry, Far Cry game. So it's like it's a spin-off of that, and they've turned it into a show. It's very weird. It's very, very strange. There's like a lot of unnecessary pandering to the LGBTQ in it, like very unnecessary pandering. It doesn't do anything for the story, doesn't make the story any better. In fact, makes it worse because it makes it confusing. You find out that the main protagonist, the guy with the gun for an arm, is gay. Again, there's no issue with that. If it was great, and I'd have no issue with the lead being part of the community. Don't give a fuck about that. What I do give a fuck about is that it was bullshit. It just made the story suck. Like if they didn't force that relationship into the story and just maybe add some nods towards it, it would have been much better, man. Like just again. But yeah. So they're all characters from the Ubisoft universe. So you've got a frog that's an assassin. I don't know why they made him a frog. I don't know if that's a nod to anything, guys. I've got no idea.
Could be Sergeant Frog, the anime.
You got the big guy that looks like a pig. He's from Skull and Bones. I don't know why he's a pig though. The girl with the shorter hair, again, she's a nod to another game that I haven't played, so I don't know. And then one of the villains, again, is a nod to another Assassin's Creed game. But again, the story was crap.
Just had no
it had no teeth to it, no substance. They were just trying to shock everybody with all the stuff that was in it. So again, the gay love story, very trans heavy. And again, if I just cut all that shit out of it, it probably would have been okay to watch. But because they kept shoving all that shit down your throat, you just went, nah.
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, because I skipped there was 8 episodes, I think. I skipped 4 because I just wanted to get to the end because I was getting bored of it. And then the end episode is just so... You just think to yourself, what the fuck have I watched this for? What a waste of my fucking time. I don't know if they're coming out with another season of it. I think it could be Blood Dragon Remix, which is that one there, Captain Laserhawk Blood Dragon Remix. I think that could be the new season they're bringing out. I don't know if it got renewed or not. I've got no idea. But again, they made Rayman a crackhead druggie that's addicted to prostitutes. And he's a right-wing piece of shit in it. I don't know why, but I mean far right, like out there piece of shit. And I don't understand why they did that. But again, because Rayman, beloved character, they could have made him a little bit like his actual character, but they went, no, let's shock everybody. Let's make him a cokehead that's addicted to prostitutes.
I mean, that's definitely a 180 from his character we've known. So
he's
maybe
gay, very unique, so demure.
Very mindful, very demure. Or should I say, not very mindful?
He was a rush job because the VA became loony and he's very bad right now. Yeah. That's it. Get a backlash and vitriol, yeah. And, you know, like, again, with beloved IPs, you do get a lot of backlash. And some of it is deserved. Not all of it is, but some of it is deserved. I think a lot of the creators, they end up becoming very much in their own little bubble, and then they forget about the rest of the world, and then they realize that if you don't kind of test the water first with just a teaser trailer or something just so people can see what it's about, instead of just releasing the show without any kind of... insight or marketing or not knowing what the fuck it's about, people aren't going to like it because like, what the fuck is this? Again, I don't know what the numbers were on it because Netflix keeps that really close to their chest. I don't think it did very well because I've not seen it mentioned again since I've saw it.
I haven't seen much about it.
And
at
this
all.
was back. This was back in 2023, or it might have been the start of this year. I'm not really sure. But yeah, 10 out of 10 would not recommend Captain Lazy Hawk.
Oh.
That's because that's what it is. Cap's not Laser Hawk, it's Lazy Hawk.
Hashtag Lazy Hawk.
Because it's lazy fucking writing.
It's a shame though, because it could have had potential, but as always, it goes down a different route to what we expect.
Funny is one of the best gay characters of Dumbledore. Yeah, again, and they don't shove that down your throat.
No.
You just kind of find it out gradually, and it's great. It's great. He's a great character. Well, Dumbledore's a very well written character.
If the sexuality adds to the character,
Yeah,
it's more powerful.
exactly.
It's definitely more impactful as well
Yeah.
as a.
If
part
it
of-
gives the character depth, but if you're just shoehorning it in,
if that's their only personality,
yeah, like what's your person? I'm gay. All right, okay, cool.
what do you
cool.
like? What do
Anything
you do?
else?
Any hobbies?
No, I'm just gay.
Right.
Right.
Do you like any different foods or anything?
If they're gay foods,
Okay. Right.
so cucumbers, obviously. Anything shaped like a penis, they're into.
Okay.
Bananas. How they come up with that? They should be made to get away from the drug crap, mate. I don't know. It's kind of infuriating because you're like, we could get something really cool out of this, but unfortunately, I mean, you can see from the trailer. Look, don't know if you guys can see that. So they make him a talk show host. I don't know if you'll see him taking the coke or anything,
but...
but...
fantastic show for you tonight with amazing guests. We're going to have Blue from the Niji 6. Yeah, give it up. Also with us tonight before his big steel cage match on Saturday, champion of the Eden Wrestling Federation, the Eden Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. So stay with us, stay tuned. We'll be back right after.
Again, that was his character. You don't see any of the drug taking, I don't think.
I wouldn't imagine so.
But yeah, that was it. That was it. Actually, I've forgotten again because I've not watched it. He becomes a character called Ramon instead of Rayman,
Okay.
and he slicks back his hair and starts smoking weed. So he wears a trench coat, slicks back his hair, and then becomes Ramon. It's
It's a little bit
I don't know either.
pulling at strings.
Yeah.
Maybe what they were trying to do is like what most DC movies try to do, is make them more gritty, more hardcore, a bit more grim. So they tried to get Rayman and give him sort of a more grittier timeline or a storyline, I guess.
Maybe. I don't know. Again, it's not.
Not
It's one of
standout.
those throwaway shows that you can see that initially they put quite a bit of love into it.
Yeah.
And then they've just gone off the rails and they've ended up with this crappy product that I don't think is what they intended to make in the first place.
No.
Because if they made the Blood Dragon story, which was pretty awesome Far Cry DLC, to be fair, people would have loved that.
Yes.
But instead of that, they made this. And I don't know what the fuck it's got to do with Blood Dragon, except other than the aesthetic of the environment, it's got fuck all to do with Blood Dragon. The Rayman games, yeah, I mean the first one on the PS1 wasn't though. That was just a really cutesy platformer.
That's the one I remember.
Yeah, Rayman 2 as well, pretty much the same deal. And then when it got to I think maybe like the end of the PlayStation 2's life and onwards, I think it got a lot darker because the Rayman was initially made to be a learning tool. He was put into educational games where you learn maths and English and stuff. So instead of it was still a platformer, but you'd have, when you had to like leap onto different platforms, you had to work out the sums. So you were given a number and then you had to jump to the right platform to then get through the rest of the level. And to be fair, they were pretty cool games because they had the right idea. They were engaging for kids. Unfortunately, I think they only made about 3 or 4 and then stopped making them. But that's what Rayman was originally made for.
With an educational purpose.
Yeah. And then obviously they made the plat because he was such a success. They then made the games. I've still got mine somewhere. The educational games.
Oh, nice.
But But yeah, then they went down another route and made him pretty dark and edgy.
I think that's the word we're looking for, is edgy. They're trying to
Edgy.
edgy things up, so to
Edgy
speak.
things up. But yeah, initially Rayman was supposed to be a cutesy platformer to compete with what Nintendo were doing and Sega at the time.
That does make sense, though.
Yeah, because PlayStation didn't have a mascot or anything, so Rayman was the mascot for PlayStation.
So Rayman has definitely evolved as the years has gone on. He's become something completely different to when he started.
It's about eugenics and world domination.
Domination.
So that's such a jump from Rayman. It's crazy. And they've gone from that to that. It's just like, what the fuck? Okay, so we're going from one thing to, like, again, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because this has been done to death on other YouTube channels, and I don't want to like overhash what everybody else has done
but
already.
We've got to have our say because it's been talked about quite a bit. So,
again, this is from a trusted source. Originally, Concord was said to have lost $180 million from its inception to its release.
That's a lot.
But an insider, several insiders have now come up saying, no, it's actually $400 million that Sony have lost.
400
on Concord. 400 million. So nearly $500 million. Again, this is just a projection. I think it could be more than this as well. On Concord. This was supposed to be the front runner for Sony. So it's going to make a brand new universe. They were going to have spin-offs. They were going to have a show. They were going to have comics.
I didn't know they went this deep.
And it was going to be massive. This was going to be Sony's next big IP. This was going to be their thing. This was going to be their Overwatch. And due to bad decision making and virtue signaling and all the bad shit that we don't want in games anymore, ended up being a complete flop. But they made it for an audience that just isn't there. This is the thing I've never really understood for the past couple of years. They keep making games for an audience that just isn't. I mean, if there was all these people that wanted to play these games, the game wouldn't have gone under.
No.
It'd still be online. They would have shut down the servers within 2 weeks. It was such a colossal failure that they shut the servers down just to save face.
Well, how many people did they have on the server?
$400 million, though, guys. $400 million. I know Sony are a big company, but that's got to hurt.
That's got to be one of the largest losses.
That has really got to fucking hurt. That is a big kick in the bollocks. I have to say my kids are grown up and understand how stupid some of this crap is. Yeah, which is great, mate. $500 million. $400 million, yeah. $400 million.
$400 million.
Now, the reason why I've chose Forbes, right, is going to bring me on to my next subject. Paul Tassi. Now, I've met Paul Tassi, unfortunately, many times. He is a piece of shit. Now, he probably doesn't remember me because when I did meet him, I didn't even shake his hand because I could already, I could feel that ooze
of bad energy
coming off him, like in waves and sheds. But the guy aside, he's one of the main writers for Forbes. And now what he does is he makes puff pieces for stuff that they really want to push and trash pieces for people that speak out for anything they want to push. So, for instance, Concord. Now, they gave Concord such a glowing review. And the lead up to it was all Concord this and Concord that, and Concord's going to conquer the world. It's going to change the face of gaming, etc., etc., etc.
And it was building such a hype and
such a hype. We can't wait for Concord to be released. But then all of a sudden it all stopped because I think that, again, Forbes is a shill. They get paid to write these sort of articles. They get paid to do it. It's not like they're writing out the goodness of their own heart, or they're doing it, or they're going to give a fair review. They're doing it because they get paid to write these shitty articles. Okay. Forbes are one of the world's worst for it. They used to be a reputable news outlet. They used to be really good. They used to write fair, real articles. Now they just write trash. But what makes this really interesting, that now that it's been a complete failure, it's completely turned on its head. And now the narrative has completely changed as well. Forbes still don't understand that what they're doing is I mean, they're flogging a dead horse. That people are never going to buy these type of games because there aren't enough people like this that like this kind of game in the gaming space. I don't know how many times we need to throw numbers out there, but again, I've done this many times on stream. 87% of the gaming audience are males, right? Straight males, heterosexuals. This is all numbers, okay? The rest, the other big chunk is ladies, because we've got a lot of lady gamers now. Welcome to the space. Hi, ladies.
Thanks. Hi.
And the rest are part of the LGBTQ, which are also, you know, we're talking about 6-7%. But then you've got 2%, which are these blue-haired nut jobs that identify. I always say this to take the piss. That identify as blue steam vulture motherfuckers. I don't know what the fuck a blue steam vulture is. I know I've said this a million times on stream. I just can't believe that somebody would identify as a blue steamed vulture. I don't know why. What the fuck is a blue? It's not even explained. It's just out there. Okay.
It's just there.
Nobody explains it. If somebody would explain it to me, maybe I'd understand more. I've got a pretty open mind, you know. As I said, I'm a centrist. I'm up for listening to anybody. But this is just fucking mad. Far left, this is really fucking far left. This is like insanity far left. These are the kind of nutters that scream at people when they tell them there's only there's only two genders, you know, male, female. Unfortunately, that's it. The rest of it is all your fantasy. Not saying it's wrong. If you want to live in that fantasy, you crack on. I mean, there's nothing wrong with you living in a fantasy as long as you don't destroy other people's lives in the process, which is what you're doing right now by doing stuff like this, by attacking people that speak out against it, because it is affecting the gaming industry. It is costing people jobs, and it's affecting everything as a whole. Like like 400 million is a massive chunk of change, guys, especially in the gaming sphere.
Ridiculous.
That is going to hurt so many. Like in the we won't see it this year because Sony will be sly about it. They won't start firing people until 2025. But due to the Concord failure, people will lose their jobs next year. Now you tell me how this is right and how it was been able to get this far for this kind of shenanigans to happen. Well, yeah, the US, but it's not just the US, mate. It's the UK, a lot of Europe, unfortunately, as well. Not so much Europe. Europe kind of, they are very good at calling out bullshit. Where we live here, there's an LGBT presence, but they don't identify with the QA, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So,
it's LGBTQ.
You've got a gay and lesbian community out here, but they don't identify with the rest of the weirdos. And like I always come to the fact, like, if you want to be gay, awesome. I've got loads of gay friends. I've got loads of people in the community, and they all tell me the same thing. This is fucking bullshit. Why are they making this stuff? Because it's supposed to be fantasy. It's supposed to be escapism. You're supposed to lose yourself in a fucking game, not have it shoved down your throat that, you know, you're running around as like a tubby female or a guy or whatever the fuck. I can't even, like, most of these characters I couldn't even tell you what they were because I got no fucking clue.
One of the main culprits, especially with Concord, was the design factor. It could probably have a little bit of a different spin if the characters were actually attractive and had a good look to them. Everybody wants to play as an attractive, cool, awesome-looking character, and these were just so mundane and beige. Well, there was no escapism.
Yeah. I mean, when you play a game, exactly. When you play a game, you want that game to help you escape, because the world at the moment is fucking shit.
You want it to ignore everything from the outside, so you can concentrate on that one thing on the inside, I guess. But I think that's been the main consensus I've heard from so many friends and obviously our community, etc. It's the design element. It's the same that happened with, obviously we've mentioned before, with Outlaws. The design changed so much within a short span of time. But why? Because it was great first. They didn't need to do anything different. And with Concord, it looks like that same thing happened.
It was a downward spiral. They basically hired people to tick all the boxes.
Yeah. Which
so
I think
they needed somebody that was trans. They needed somebody that was non-binary. They needed somebody that was non-binary, gay and black. They needed somebody that was, you know. all to win awards in a show that nobody really gives a shit about. Again, it's to have I think it's called the Progressive Award in Business or something like that. Who gives a flying fuck? It's a stupid fucking award. The statue looks awful. Why the fuck would you want that in your office? If you want to hire people, hire them for their talents.
Their skills.
If they're an amazing artist and gay, fucking awesome, hire them. If they're an amazing programmer and a lesbian, fucking hire them. Like, bring them into your fold. Like, don't segregate your workforce just to try and pander to such a tiny fucking audience. And they are a tiny fucking audience. They don't make the game any better. They make it worse. They then make it inaccessible to people like you and I that just want to play a fucking game. That don't want to like have virtue signaling and left-wing propaganda thrown down your throat every time you turn on your PlayStation/PC. We just want to have fucking fun, man. We just want to enjoy the game. We just want a good story. We want well-written characters. We want characters that we can adhere to and get into because we see ourselves in them, or at least a little bit of ourselves, or we fantasize that we want to be these characters, which then makes us play the fucking game. Why modern development, especially in the AAA space, not understanding this is what we want as gamers? We scream at them on a daily basis on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, fucking every social platform. TV now as well.
Yeah.
Like, even the fucking traditional media are catching up. And they're just screaming and going, guys, we don't want this fucking shit. We've not bought the game, so there's your fucking proof. You just spunk $400 million up the wall because nobody wants to play your fucking crappy game. But this aside, Paul Tassi, again, the ultimate shill on the internet. He's a terrible fucking writer as well.
What's happened now, Dan?
He's having a pop at one of the loveliest people on the internet as well. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Star Wars Theory or his stuff. He's a really nice dude. He's really chill. He's really laid back. He sells his lightsabers. He talks about Star Wars. And he's harmless, man. Like,
he's
again,
a good guy.
if he doesn't like something, he'll say, and he'll call out shit when he sees it, which is fine. You do that, mate.
I respect that.
But this guy has literally got it for him. Like, he wrote a really shitty article about Star Wars Theory, and again, I fucking hate the guy to start with. And then when you get to this point as a writer, where you've got to try and demonetize or take people down that disagree with your opinion, that's when you got to quit. That is when you got to walk away from being a writer. That's when you got to get the fuck out. Because he's at a point now where, when all this left-wing propaganda and far left-wing propaganda stuff starts falling on its arse and people start face planting, and then they work out they're not making any money from it, writers like this are the ones that end up getting the sack, or they'll get blacklisted because of all the shit they've caused on the internet. Exactly, yeah. Again, if you've not seen Star Wars Theory stuff, go and watch his stuff. He's a very nice dude. He's got a great voice for podcasting. Yeah, and he's just lovely. Like, again, he interacts with all his audience. He's always on Twitter. He's like people showing cosplays and their lightsabers and stuff. He just loves Star Wars. He gets really excited about it. But because he was one of the ones that slagged off the Acolyte because of how fucking bad it was, he got taken down for it. Or he was one of the many YouTube people that were taken down. I mean, I think the other one was Critical Drinker, Disparu, Nerdrotic, Facial Anomaly, Star Wars Girl, People in the Night. There was 30 maybe under that.
They went really off.
They're just targeted, but they're targeting people with massive fan bases. And so if you go over something like Critical Drinker, I think he's on something like 5 million subs.
Oh my word!
That means you've got 5 million people coming down you like a sack of shit, saying "fuck off, leave our guy alone. He's not doing anything wrong." So you're either stupid.
I think they've got to realise it's definitely a minority, not a majority. And if they realise that, there might be a shift within the industry, because they're only accommodating that minority and not the majority. And I think the majority are speaking out, as they rightly should do, because they want to have good games and good entertainment. And eventually that'll break through. I believe it.
I mean, again, I don't agree with everything that's said on YouTube. I do watch a lot of podcasts now because we're doing our own podcast. So we thought we'd check out what people are doing now.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with everything everybody says, but it doesn't mean that they can't have their own opinion. Like if I don't know, we're watching it. I mean, Asmongold, he says stupid shit all the fucking time.
Oh,
It's
I
like,
love
mate,
Asmongold.
come on, man. That's not how the world works. Shut the fuck up. But he's allowed his opinion. I'm not going to, like, try and cancel him on the fucking internet because he's got an opinion. If he wants that opinion, let him crack on. Gary from Nerderotic, again, he's very outspoken. A bit of a grumpy fucking bastard a lot of the time when he does these podcasts. But they're very well put together. And he knows what he's talking about, and he's very well read.
And he's passionate about it.
And
That's
he's
the main
passionate
thing.
about the IPs and the fandom that he likes. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being passionate about your fandom. Again, you're not going to agree with everything that someone says. You are going to have disagreements, but as long as you talk them out and then agree to disagree,
the difference in maturity.
that's how people function. That's how the internet should function. This fucking bullshit about trying to get people cancelled because you don't agree with their opinion. Come on, man. Fucking grow up, you slags. There's so many pieces of fucking shit on the internet, man. Fucks me off. It's 50-50 Asmongold, but even when I disagree with him, I have to admit he's coming from a place that's not unreasonable. Yeah, I mean, again, he's got his ducks in a row. He knows what he's talking about. He's a smart guy. I don't agree with sometimes how he gets to, because he's got a very, again, without alienating our American friends, he's got a very American outlook on everything. Well, I mean, he lives in Austin, Texas, so he's Texan, isn't he? He's got a very American outlook on everything. He's kind of like, he's very insular when it comes to everything else. But saying that, if it's something he knows a lot about, i.e. gaming or the gaming sphere, he's very knowledgeable in business as well. I'd say 78% of the time I agree with what he says, but a lot of the other times we'll just go, nah, man, that's not how that works. But
it
yeah.
opens a conversation. It opens healthy conversation as well. And unfortunately, there's some people that can't do that. They feel the need to attack or to point out something. Whereas if you've got the ability to just sit down with other people and discuss it and go, oh, that's the reason I don't like this, or I like this, it makes a really good movement with everybody, instead of like just pointing out what you don't like and just being a wall. Basically, let that wall down and open up.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
some
I mean, again, it's down to personal preference. And again, as I said before, you're not going to agree with everybody. If you don't agree with a person, just move on. It's not your fucking problem, is it? They just don't have the same opinion you do.
Everyone's allowed their personal preference.
But saying people are poison and saying that people are out of line and people are shitheads just because they don't say the same thing you're or selling or whatever else, it's like, fuck off, man. Stop being silly cunts. Jesus Christ. I can tell when people are wrong because they say the same stuff I don't say. Sorry, that's Disney's slogan.
Oh, ho, ho.
So to wrap up what we're saying on Concord, again, the lies that they've spun around Concord has been astronomical. I mean, again, I don't really give a shit. I don't own Sony. If they want to spunk 400 million up on a shit game, that's down to them. I do feel sorry for the people and the smaller studios that are going to get shut down in the new year because of this, though, because, again, they didn't listen to the fan base. They didn't listen to anybody on the internet. They didn't get any opinions. They just stayed everything in their little bubble. The the other thing that's happened as well, all the lead staff on this game have been fired, and rightly so. To have to go into a workplace on a daily basis and have to call somebody professor because they identify as a man is madness to me. That should be allowed in a place of business. That shouldn't be allowed in a place of business, because all that does is that alienates your staff, and it makes your staff have to walk around on eggshells when what they should be doing is focusing on what they're doing for a living or what you're paying them to do, which is make a game.
Any level of discomfort should not be allowed.
You shouldn't have any of that bullshit in an office environment. I had plenty of people from the LGBT in my when I still owned my company, and there was never any issues at all because they integrate everybody else. And they were fucking amazing. They were an amazing part of the workforce. They brought something different to the table, and it made us a three-pronged assault anytime we did anything. And they took us to amazing drag shows, which I fucking loved. I love a good comedy, man. And comedy drag shows are fantastic. And yeah, I don't see the fucking problem with it. But when you come to this fucking gender bullshit, it makes people have to walk on eggshells. You got people on it that don't believe in it. So again, you're forcing people to think the way that you think. If you want to identify as a blue steam vulture person, do it outside of your workplace. If that's what you want to do in your spare time, you do that in your spare time. When you come to work, you live in the real fucking world because you're getting paid a lot of money to be there, and you work. If you want to make your identity all about being trans, blue vulture, Fire Emblem, Pokemon, whatever the fuck, sparkly unicorn, you go do that in your private time with your boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, whatever. But when you're in work, you're there to work, not to get patted on the back for being trans. That's bollocks. I'm sorry, but that's the way I feel about it. And again, so many people are going to lose their jobs because idiots like that do live in a fantasy world have tried to push their agenda on a game, especially a front-running AAA game that was costing so much money. Somebody from Sony should have stepped in. And it's their poor foresight, which is why they're in this predicament right now. An executive should have just come down from above and gone, no, fuck off. This is how the game's being made. And that's it. There's so many artists that have done their own visual representations of the characters, and they look amazing.
They are wonderful.
They look amazing. They've still kept their races. They've still kept their genders, but they've made them look more palatable. So when you look at me like, oh fuck, what the fuck is that, man?
You actually look at them and go, I want to cosplay that. I want to make that outfit. I want to be in that outfit. That's the character I want to be.
Why should you have to say if you're gay or straight? If you can do the job, never acted that shit before. Sure, once in a while there's something stupid said, but nothing like nowadays. Yeah, man. Again, like it shouldn't matter what your sexual preferences are, but unfortunately, these people make it a problem. Yeah. They go to HR and they say stupid shit like, "Oh, Dave called me a girl today when I'm obviously a man." But Cheryl, you're called Cheryl when you've got tits, so you're a woman. But HR won't say that because they're too frightened about getting sued. So they'll just pander to this person. And then that person will then be sent away to have, what's it called, training?
Social training?
Sure, we've got social training. They'd be sent off to have social training because they wasn't accepting of their colleague at work that identifies as a cat or whatever the fuck. It's just insanity to me. You're there to do a fucking job. Do the fucking job. You're getting paid, and these people are getting paid a lot of money. Like the Concord, like there's a reason why it was cost $400 million.
Thank you. Social rehabilitation.
Thank you. Social rehabilitation training. They're cool. They're all there, and they're making 60 to 100 grand, 150 grand a year. Lead developers 200 grand a year. And that's why this game costs $400 million. And they're getting paid 200 grand to say that, yeah, you got to call me professor because I identify as a man. How about you fuck off and just get on with the job? Yeah. So it's not like it's not me being homophobic. It's me being, I'm paying you fucking money. Get on with the fucking job. I don't give a fuck about.
There's a lot of people that would love to.
I don't give a fuck about your gender. I don't give a fuck who you're fucking. As long as you're doing the job, I'm a happy bunny. But you crack on with the job. As soon as you start this bullshit, you're out. That's it. That's how the world should be. Ministry of Love is in the corporate world.
Oh.
Something's in it, mate. I know at the moment it's giving me extreme stress and anxiety. Triggered. So triggered.
So triggered. Oh my god, damn.
So to wrap this up, so again, all the lead staff have been sacked. Again, rightly so. They've tried to cover up the fact it was $180 million, but it's actually $400 million.
That just makes my gut.
Which is like so many studios could have been given that $400 million and made some amazing AA indie titles. I mean, like the indie sphere right now and the AA sphere, they are fucking killing it.
They're crushing it, man.
They are killing it. They are making some amazing games, and they're not getting enough eyes on because companies are spending $400 million on this fucking shit. And again, this is not homophobic because, again, a lot of as I know I'm going to get called out on it, a lot of people that are in the indie sphere are part of the community and they're making much better fucking games than this shit that you actually want to sit down and play. As long as they're not cozy, because cozy means crap. Just putting it out there.
You're
Sorry,
against the
sorry,
cozy
cozy gamers. Cozy means shit. Let's just
Don't
be
hate
real.
on all cozy games. Just most.
Except
of them.
maybe Stardew Valley, but the rest of it can fuck off. I don't know if Pokemon's classed as cozy anymore. I'm not really sure, but that can stay as well.
Definitely.
But yeah, so it's because the 400 million, again, the thing to take away, because of the 400 million, the future of Sony's AAA projects have been held into question. They're probably going to now move away from live service games, so they're going to probably concentrate on the single player titles. Expect layoffs in 2025, mass layoffs as well because of the amount of money that was spent on this shit.
That's what makes me sad the most.
And again, it's another sign that we don't want this kind of game as gamers, not just straight white men, not just straight white women, not just what everybody has said they don't want this fucking bullshit. It needs to stop. Anyway, moving on. Spent too much time on this.
Should we talk about some really cool shows?
Some really cool shows. All right, so we'll skip that one. We're just going to do. So we watched the very first episode of The Penguin last night.
Oh my word! Where do we begin with this?
It's a good fucking show, man. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't hate the Batman. I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay. Like, it was worth a watch.
Personally, I wasn't the biggest fan. I wasn't the biggest fan of the movie. I think Robert Pattinson did a decent job as Batman.
Yeah.
I feel that Zoe Kravitz was a great addition to Catwoman.
The story was weak.
The story was so weak, and the plot was just really confusing and complicated for no apparent reason. But the one thing that always did stand out to me, and I think to you as well, was when we saw the Penguin come onto the screen.
Colin Farrell, yeah. I had to look twice because I thought, I'm sure the Penguin's Colin Farrell. You know, I had to look it up because
I couldn't believe you. I was honestly, you've got to prove this to me.
He always has been a very good character actor, though. He kind of he's very method. He kind of becomes the character while he's filming.
This makeup, I think, for the longest time, if it's movie or television, this needs an award or just needs some appreciation of some kind. Because, oh my word, you see this in the show, you see this in the movie, and you cannot see any lines, you cannot see any faults anywhere. He looks in a complete different person, and it's phenomenal makeup. If they say that we need CG for good performances, I think they need to listen again, because if they see this as visual effects makeup at its finest, I was so blown away by it.
Yeah, again, we've already done the Gotham thing. We've already had the villains in another iteration, and this is kind of like a separate one. So for me, it was difficult. For me, it was difficult to separate myself into this Batman universe because everything is so different. The Riddler wasn't the Riddler for me. The Riddler felt more like a mixture of the Joker and the guy that cuts his victims into his chest. I can't remember. Not Calendar Man. Was it? Or it could be Calendar Man. I can't remember.
I think that is Calendar Man.
Is it Calendar Man?
We'll say it's Calendar Man for now.
We'll say it's Calendar Man until somebody corrects me. He seemed like more of a combination of those two because, again, they're fucking insane. Where the Riddler is insane, but he's more collected, and yeah, it didn't do it for me. That wasn't the Riddler for me. I just found his character over the top and a little bit shit. This, however, was touted that it was going to be a prequel series, so it was going to be how he became the Penguin. But this is actually straight after the Batman.
Yes.
So this is the disaster happened, the stadium blew up, mass flooding. Most of Lower Gotham's been destroyed because of the flooding, and it's like, you know, cats, dogs living together, pandemonium basically.
Chaos has.
The drug trade has been hit hard, which is how the Penguin makes his money, and the two main houses of gangster, so the Falcons and I can't remember the other guys, but they've kind of like the Falcons won the war. And the other ones are very downtrodden. This is the story of how they then come to odds again. It's got an interesting cast. Like, again, it is interesting. I was a little bit unsure about watching it just because I didn't know if I wanted to get into another version of Batman, because there's so many fucking versions of Batman. Did we need another version of Batman? But if you take it at face value, Colin Farrell has got he's obviously watched a lot of mafia movies before he's gone into this role. It reminds me a lot of Tony Soprano.
Yes.
Robert De Niro from Goodfellas, and Joe Pesci as well. It's kind of like a mixture.
Those three.
That's the
combination.
vibe I got, and that's what I thought it was going for. Because even though he's a villain, he's not at the same time. He's sort of like...
You got to make up for yourself.
Yeah, you got to kind of decide yourself if you think he's an arsehole or not. Obviously, he's conniving because he's the Penguin.
Yeah.
But you got to kind of decide where you want this to go. The vibe that it gives off, is it for you or isn't it? I think it's going to be very 50-50 for people because, as I said, I think I just saw Zarbek go.
No.
Zars, that's it. They saw this more used to a more traditional Penguin with a top hat, the umbrella that's a machine gun or a gas or whatever, and the crooked nose.
The monocle.
The monocle. He does have a limp. He has got a disability, so he does waddle like a penguin.
I will say his performance is very
Yeah, I mean, he makes you uncomfortable because you don't know what he's going to do next. He's very unstable because he comes across as weak, but he's not. And without watching it or any spoilers, I can't really go into any more depth than that. But if you're a fan of Batman, go in apprehensive, but please watch it. If you're not a Batman fan, just as a mafia show, this is very good.
Yeah, this is for you, definitely.
This is very good. The Sopranos left a massive gap in the TV when it went off the air, and they've never really been able to fill it properly. I
It's a
feel
big
like this
shoe to
could be a very over-the-top version of The Sopranos. Like,
Yeah.
very over-the-top. So, like a mixture of many different mafia movies mixed into one.
Oh, I see that.
But, yeah, again, give it a chance. It's the Batman is mentioned very briefly. It's not around Batman.
So if you're expecting a lot of Batman,
Batman's not even, as far as we can tell, it's very much just going to be Penguin's story. He is mentioned every now and again. He's always in the background somewhere, but as far as everybody knows, he's not been around for a while. So maybe we're not really sure what's happened to Batman. But maybe you find out at the end of the show. We're not sure. It's only episode 1, but as episodes go, there's a lot of world building that they didn't do in the Batman movie. So you get more of a feel for what Gotham's like in this universe, which kind of fleshes out the movie a little bit more, I thought. So maybe when the Penguin is finished, maybe go back and watch the Batman again.
oh,
Might be an idea. But it fleshes out the universe a lot. It's putting a lot of characters in front of you, so there's a couple of bits where it drags. But I think it's just because it's universe building. I think if it's something about 10-15 minutes of it. But if you can get past it, and then like the last 20 minutes are pretty fucking insane.
it ramps up.
Yeah.
It ramps up.
But it's kind of like a slow build. Like, you know something's coming, but you're not sure what, and then it just goes
It
fucking
does
insane.
have this element of anticipation through the entire episode. You do feel like, what's going to happen now? And you don't really know with the encounters he has and etc. if it's going to lead this way or if it's going to be another way. So if you like anticipation or a little bit of an unknown element, I think that's going to keep you watching a lot longer as well. Even though with this little dive that it has of like trying to build the story, I feel like it's necessary for it to have that high that you get.
Yeah,
at
and
the end.
Zarbek's quite... See, again, because this version of Batman is very young. It could be where he goes to find Bane. He doesn't know he's Bane yet at this point. Bane's not even a named character. He's just a warlord. But he's the one that was bringing drugs into Gotham, so it could be one of those places where Bruce Wayne disappears, and it's because Batman has gone to South America or wherever he needs to go and stop the drugs being brought into Gotham. He's done that before. You know, again, there's loads of times where he's gone off and done team-ups with other heroes, etc. It could be down to that. We don't know where they're taking Batman to, because we're not even sure if it's being made yet, because obviously
A lot of
James
DC
Gunn liked the Batman, but he's not come out and said, yeah, that we're going to make number 2, or... There's been nods, but they might be keeping it under wraps, so it's a bit of a surprise when it does come out. But as world building goes, it's a very dark, gritty take on the underworld of Gotham. I mean, it's always been dark and gritty anyway. But be prepared for violence. It is very violent. Just putting it out there. It's not for kids.
No.
This has definitely been made for adults. And please be aware that there is gore in it as well. So if you are going to watch it, just be aware that it's a bit gory in places. If you've got a weak stomach or you don't like the sight of blood, don't watch it.
No.
So I'm interested to see where it goes. I'm interested to see what they do with the story. It is only episode 1. It could go into it could fucking really surprise us. Could be the best show of the year. We don't know, do we?
It has potential. It does have potential.
But it's had a pretty decent. The first episode, I'd give it a good 6 out of 10.
I think that's a great number. Yeah,
Good
6 out of 10.
And that's because it's the pilot. Again, it could really ramp up, and by episode 4 or 5, we give it 8 out of 10. But we'll watch this every week, so you don't have to.
Yep.
And we'll give you an insight to the episodes. One of the things we're going to do during the week is maybe do a midweek roundup as well. So because this does come out every Tuesday, maybe we can do more of an in-depth look at it that's got a little bit more spoilers in it. So if you don't want to watch it, we can then
elaborate
tell you what it's
more.
about. The weekly show is more of a roundup, so we talk about it briefly, but we don't go into any kind of details. We want this show to be spoiler-free, okay?
Exactly.
For you guys. So we can give you recommendations, but we don't give you no fucking spoilers.
And after watching this show, you'll be talking like this a lot.
It is being made. It's also being confirmed to be another murder mystery. Okay.
So we'll have to just wait and see.
They need to take him to a different actor.
But yeah, Batman has had many iterations for all different characters, and I haven't really seen many of Penguin. I'm not going to lie. I've seen many iterations of the Joker. I've seen of Riddler, obviously. But I find this really refreshing. The one that I always remember is Danny DeVito.
But he likes this, doesn't he?
He did make a statement that he loves the different adaptation on the Penguin. Because obviously, for me, he is Penguin, Danny DeVito. His Tim Burton version of that character with the very elaborate camp look he had, I will always have as my vision of Penguin. But this is even changing my mind. I like the different 180 this basically is, and how Colin has made it his own. He's definitely made it his own.
All right, complete transparency, because Zarpek has asked. Our time, obviously, mate, is very limited due to the fact we are full-time caregivers. If the weekly show starts doing really well and it picks up, we'll then start looking at making other content. At the moment, we're just going to stick to the 2. Well, it's going to be the 1 for the first few weeks, because obviously we need to make the other one. This has taken us 2 weeks to put this together, if you can believe it. So it does take a while to make treatments for it, to promote it, etc., to build the show around your schedule, etc. So again, if this takes off and it starts doing well, we'll then look at doing more singular episodes, which only last maybe 10-15 minutes, to give a rundown of shows that we're watching at the moment. But as we used to give in the background, or used to give every weekly show, I'd say, it's not quite the stamp of approval, but it's a definitely go watch.
I think so.
Definitely go watch. Give it a chance. If you don't like it, don't watch it. But at least give it a try. There's not much going on television at the moment, so. And it's HBO, so just put it out there. They're very good at making gritty dramas.
But it definitely was a pleasant surprise. I can see this being either amazing or a train wreck. We'll find out.
But we're going to end it on watching a trailer. So as you can see, a very mafia gangsterish take on the Penguin, which I thought was cool. I think it's a good angle. But yeah, give it a watch. Give it a watch.
And let us know what you think when you do.
All right, on a more sour note. So unfortunately, there is a
no.
lot of sour news in the news this week. It kind of sucks. But again, due to stuff going on in and around Activision, Blizzard, and the Microsoft buyout, there has been... I mean, initially... see, Phil Spencer's very good at corporate spin. And again, another person I don't like in the industry. I've never liked him. Is a shyster. He's very good at corporate spin. He will make a disaster sound like it's not as bad as it is, but yeah, it's pretty shit. I've got this from an inside source. Again, this is from people that I used to work with there. A lot of my friends have been laid off, which is kind of sucks. Basically, in a nutshell, again, Phil Spencer saying this has happened in the past couple of weeks. These jobs were already axed before the buyout even happened. For for their purchase to be seen in the positive light, they have to be in the black before the next financial review, which is in October. So for that to happen, they have to start sacking people and downsizing Microsoft and their assets, which is what they've been doing for the past year and a half. So everybody that's been laid off that's got anything to do with Microsoft is so that they look like they're doing really well when they're not doing great at all. Because if they're in the red in the financial review in October, Phil Spencer will then start being questioned to why he's pumping money into different assets, etc., and there's no returns. If he starts sacking staff, bearing in mind all these staff are on 60, 70,000 a year, when you get to like 2,500, that's a lot of change. However, the underhanded thing of this, and again, unfortunately, Blizzard fanboys will tell you different. The underhanded thing about this is that they were given no prior warning. They knew 6 months, 7 months before this that they were going to be sacking these people because their roles are now no longer required because of the direction they're taking Activision Blizzard in, right? But instead they just put them on dead-end projects or dead-end whatever just to make it look like they were being kept busy. You kind of would have, in all honesty, when they made me redundant in 2012, 13, can't remember now, 2012, I didn't have a clue either. They were, this is just as the Activision Blizzard buyout was in the works. We could already see changes in the office. There was a lot more suits walking around. The office environment had completely changed. The vibe had changed. We kept seeing faces we didn't know. People were going to HR and never coming back, and then we couldn't get in contact with them because they'd signed documentation to not talk to anybody in the office in exchange for a decent severance package. So a lot of them had families. We totally understood that. I've been able to talk to them since, but it was on pain of being sued blind, and yeah, it was pretty nasty tactics, really. They did the same thing to us, but with us, it was even worse because we just got locked out of the building, and nobody was in the building. It was completely empty, but we were still told to come in to work. We thought it was strange because we'd just done an expansion, and normally we get like a 2-month break, but they asked us to come in 2 weeks after the expansion release. So we're like, okay. Didn't question it though. We turned up. None of our key cards worked, so we couldn't get into the building. And there was no security there to let us in either. And then we had one limousine pull up, and then another couple of cars. Loads of guys in suits got out and then handed us all our redundancy papers.
Oh my word.
And they did it on purpose, so we do it when the staff weren't, so we couldn't kick off and make a fuss. But secondly, so they could post all our stuff back to us so we didn't have to go back into the office again. We were then told that we had 24 hours to hand over any assets because a lot of us work remotely, or they'd sue us blind. And when we tried to take it through European court, we were told it wasn't viable because of the way our contracts were locked up. And we were given a crappy redundancy package, and we were basically just kicked out on the street with no notice. But we had no idea it was coming. And they did the same thing to these 2,500 employees.
Oh my word.
And the sucky thing about all of this is the fact that their severance package or their redundancy packages, they've got 2 months worth of pay. And this is, a lot of these people have been working there for nearly 15, 20 years, and this is all they know. Like, they've come straight out of university and worked for Blizzard because it's their dream company. This is how the...
Carry on.
This is how the industry is now going, is the fact that you are... I mean, you've always been a number, but at least in the early noughties when I started developing, you were treated with a little bit more respect. You were seen as an asset. You were awarded for your skill set. You were awarded for being a good employee, for going the extra mile, etc. And they did, and you got rewarded. You got looked after. I was lucky enough to do it before the crash, so I was flown all over the world. I've worked in many different studios. I was very lucky to do what I was doing, and Yeah, they just stopped all when the crash happened. They just stopped all of that, and it all just the industry just became a horrible place to live or to work in. So this is after I did work for EA, which is probably one of my worst career decisions I ever made. I think it was very stressful. It was very corporate. You had no creative freedom at all. You were constantly watched. You had every decision questioned by somebody else, somebody that knew nothing about game design, mostly people in suits that have got backgrounds in accounting and business but know nothing about game development, computer science or coding at all. And they ask the impossible. They want stuff done that would normally take 3 months done in 2 weeks, which is impossible. And then when you can't do it, somebody gets fired. And again, that's been the
cycle.
That's been the cycle of game development now since 2010.
It's unbelievable.
Which is why I can't believe that things like Concord exist, because if we did that, the entire team would have been fired or let go. This is what shocks me so much about stuff like Concord, is the fact that stuff like this is able to happen when there's no money in the gaming industry at all at the moment. Excuse me, sorry. And people are struggling to find jobs. And there's more people than jobs, and this stuff is still able to go on. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. So, yeah, underhanded decision making. They knew months and months in advance that they were going to be laying off these people. They didn't let them know. It was just an absolute shock and surprise. And now these 2,500 people have got to go and find jobs, and there aren't jobs out there. Not in the positions they had.
No, definitely not.
And, it was from everything from social media to coding to art, everything. Like, they've gone across the board and just got rid of everybody.
But why? What was the...
Well, I told you, it's because they've got to be in the black in October when the financial review comes up.
And there was nothing else they could possibly have done.
Could they not get a transfer to Bethesda and help with the... Yeah, right. Yeah, but mate, Bethesda are in as much financial shit as everybody else. They're all like, Bethesda's fucked at the moment. They're in because of Starfield. It was Starfield, wasn't it? Was it Starfield?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of the game. That's so much impact that game made on me. Because of Starfield and how badly it was received and etc. They lost millions on that. And they've never released the projected numbers because Bethesda don't do things like that. Although if they have, they've not been the right numbers.
They've not been fully transparent,
Yeah.
so to say.
But again, that's another outlet of Phil Spencer there, because he's the one running all of that.
It just is sad that so many people have lost their jobs, and not in the most professional way, should I add. That doesn't sound very professional to me.
Yeah, it's shit.
And you'd think that they'd learn from their mistakes in the past, and obviously it sounds a lot worse, to be frank.
They shouldn't have said it was Skyrim in space. Yeah, man, that was marketing spin. That's classic marketing spin. Yeah, like the marketing team, 9 times out of 10 have never played the game. They never played the game. So what they do is they take an initial walk around the studio, and then they try and gauge or grab ideas from what people are doing. And they will get sound bites from developers. So it might be one developer going, well, I mean, if you never played a Bethesda game, you played Skyrim, right? Well, imagine it's Skyrim in space. That marketer will take that verbatim and then advertise it as Skyrim in space because the developers said so. And if the developers don't know what the fuck they're doing, why the fuck are we marketing this game?
It's very...
A marketing team are literally idiots with a checkbook. Like, you need to tell them what to say. And if you don't give them the right information, they're going to push the wrong aspects of the game. I don't know if you guys ever met a marketing team, but my fuck. It's like talking to it. Well, it's like a blank slate, and you're like giving them cards and feeding them cards of information. Like hungry hippos. They give them little balls, and you like got the little buttons going, and they're all fucking idiots. How to get blackballed? We can only hope, mate. We can only hope. But a lot of these marketing idiots are very good at jumping ship. They're very good at knowing when something's going under. So then, before it does go under, they jump ship to another company. And once you realise that, especially because I've got so many of them, because unfortunately, I've been in the promotional space, you have to get to know a lot of marketers. And you see them at least once a year putting up a screenshot of their names in a game, their names in the credits of a game. So they go, oh, look at this game I've just made. And you didn't even realise they were not at the company they were working at last year. Because their name is now in a game from another studio. And they always put it up. It's like, oh, wow, look, I was in that marketing team that marketed this game that sold like 200 copies. But there's my name up in lights. And that's how you know. And that's how you keep track of where everybody is. On LinkedIn as well. Like they'll come up like with their statement once a year when a game comes out. I'm really proud that I worked on this. It's like, mate, you marketed it. You didn't work on the game. Fuck my life. It really ticks me out. Like marketing and strategy, they piss me off because they say they worked on the game. They didn't do anything on the game. They just marketed it. Like that's like the tail end. It's not difficult. You got shit tons of budget. And you piss it up the wall to promote the game. That is your job. That is your function as a marketeer. That is what you do. That is you get a budget. You're told what to say. You go push it. And 90% of it's done by influencers now anyway. So you just got to know you just got to make sure you pick the right influencer and somebody that's not like maybe touching kids in a toilet or whatever the fuck. Maybe do a bit of background on the influencers you're hiring. You know what I mean? Which again, marketing also can't do. So. Yeah, I'm not a fan of marketing. Can you imagine? Because I'm just not a fan of marketing.
I didn't guess. I couldn't guess from where you're talking about that.
But yeah, they are idiots with a checkbook, which is what we always called them in the developer space, and even in the promotional space when we were promoting the games. It's like, well, we won't go to them. We'll just go straight to the marketing teams. They're the ones with all the money anyway. So they're the ones that have got it all under wraps. So they go, yeah, you can have this, you can have this, you can have this, and that's it. That's it in a nutshell.
It's just they need to work on the whole coming out of the blue and then just suddenly firing people. That needs to stop in any line of business. That's not fair on the employees. That's not fair on anybody. That's the one thing that just breaks my heart about all of that, is just not knowing. Like you were saying about the story that you experienced, just them out of the blue, not even giving you the inclination and just being like, bam, that's it. That must be such a mental tax on the employees.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So, yeah, that was sour news, but we're going to move on to something positive. I think we got something. I don't think it's all dour news this week, is it?
It's not all dour news. I don't think so. News.
Okay, so one of the shows, our favourite shows this year, I think it was this year.
It was this year.
Shogun.
Oh my gosh. I will just briefly say, touching on Penguin just for 2 seconds more. It is what they call Batman Day, so I just thought.
Okay.
So I just wanted to quickly say to anybody that's celebrating Batman Day or knows of Batman Day, what did you do for it? Did you dress up? Did you watch all the movies, your favourite Batman movies? Did you read the comic books? I just thought we forgot to touch on that when we were talking about Penguin. So happy Batman Day. But as regards to Shogun, this is absolutely incredible. Wow. Where do you begin with this one?
So, I can't remember the last time that a TV show was given this many awards in anything. So, but out of all the shows we watched this year, Shogun's been phenomenal. It was just from start to finish was gripping. I couldn't wait for every episode to come. It was one of the only shows this year where I wish I could have watched it all at once.
Yes.
But having to wait week by week to watch an episode, yeah.
It brought back that same excitement for shows that we had to wait a week to watch. And everybody was talking about it with every given release. They were just analysing the episodes. And we just absolutely were blown away by it, weren't we? We just could not talk fondly enough about it.
So, Shogun, the show, it won Best Drama, Best Directing, Best Sound Mixing, Best Sound Editing, Best Picture Editing, Best Cinematography, Best Period Costumes, Best Main Title Design, Best production design, best prosthetic makeup, best stunt performance, best casting for a drama, best special visual effects, best period fantasy makeup, best period fantasy hairstyling, best lead actress, Anna Sawai. She was amazing, absolutely
Love
phenomenal.
her.
Guys, that is how you write a strong female lead.
Just put it out there.
She was chef's kiss. Amazing. That is how you write a strong female lead. She wasn't girl boss. She was just badass. Just because she cut men down just with what she said, just with words. And again, fantastic actress. She actually nailed that.
The epitome of being feminine and strong as a character. She was wonderful.
Hiroyuki Sanada, one of my all-time favorite actors, absolutely fucking nailed it.
Deserved.
Again,
well deserved.
He's probably the best at being stoic and
he has a presence.
yeah, he just on camera he's just phenomenal, and it, like, again, absolutely fucking blew my mind. He was fantastic in it. Again, well deserved, 100%. And then best guest actor in a drama, Nestor Carbonell. He was the Portuguese, I think. He was the
he was the Portuguese.
He was the boatman, wasn't he?
Yes.
Again, great part.
You probably wouldn't have noticed it unless that was pointed out.
He was wearing quite a bit of makeup.
Yeah, it was.
But he played a great part.
He did.
Um,
Everybody had their part to play. Watch it for yourself if you haven't got round to watching Shogun. I guarantee it's probably one of the most binge-watch worthy shows of the year. It was incredibly made. But by that alone, it's how many? 18 or 19 awards at the Emmys? And
that's
I think
absolutely insane.
that's only for season one. That's the most Emmys awarded to
and
one
it has
season.
been so this is the strange thing about Fox, right? There's no more books. The books have finished. There was only one book.
Yes.
And that was season one. But Fox, again, are you feeling okay, Fox? Because you don't renew anything decent anyway. You just renew shit. I'm only speaking the truth.
You are speaking the truth.
Yeah, they've renewed it for another 2 seasons.
So I'm very curious to where they're going to go from there.
But
I can only hope.
also a shout out to Cosmo Jarvis. Again, he's never done anything like this before. He's an American English actor, and I thought, although his British accent was at times a little bit over the top, one of my favourite lines in the entire thing was he's surrounded by people with samurai swords, and he just goes like, was it? Fuck off, you bastard! I'm English.
Yeah.
That's it. That was just the fucking line of the show. But that's how they completely nailed what we were like back in that time period, because we ruled most of the world at that point. The British Empire was everywhere. So they had such an ego on them that they were just untouchable, because we ruled the planet back and forth. Again, we were massive. I'm not saying the British Empire was amazing. We were fucking arseholes. But
the way it's depicted
just showed the sign of the times, because he just thought, I'm doing this for the Queen. The Queen is everything. Blah blah blah. Very similar to Warhammer, I guess, if you're in. That's that kind of thing. The Queen's word is everything, because without her we are nothing. And that was the attitude of that time period. I can't remember if it was a king or the Queen around 14. I think
it was
the
Queen. They say Queen in Shogun.
It was the Queen. But again, fantastic show. The sets were on point. Costumes were on point.
Immaculate.
Everything about it was amazing.
It was immaculate. It was just, we were waiting for a show that was just a great plot. The characters, every single character added to it. You were always on edge of what's going to go on. What's the next thing? You were always surprised of what actually happens. You get loads of shockers, loads of surprising elements. It definitely deserved the amount of awards. It weren't just for popularity's sake. It's popular for a reason. It's very, very good. It's very good.
So if you haven't seen Shogun yet, this gets the weekly show stamp of approval. So go watch it. Phenomenal.
Stamp. Bloop.
Gets a stamp. It's probably one of the only shows this year has got a stamp of approval for me that is unmissable. You've got to go watch this show. It's amazing. Really, really good.
So top tier watching.
Top tier, indeed. Okay.
But that's amazing for so many awards. The awards are incredible. The list is endless, but every single one well deserved, definitely deserved.
Also, a shout out to our boy Gary Oldman that we're really enjoying in a show called Slow Horses at the moment. Again, if you've not seen Slow Horses, would highly recommend it. It's about the being a spook in the UK, so working for MI5.
Has been a little gem of a show so far.
Yeah, we didn't really know quite how to take it. Like we've only watched season 1, but we didn't quite know how to take the cast and where it was going because it was all a bit
up in the air.
But one thing we did love about it from the very start was Gary Oldman. He's fucking phenomenal in it. He's brilliant. He's a lovable arsehole, and he is an arsehole as well. And his character is not much to look at, but he could kill you with a look.
Yes.
That's literally.
He's got the kindest eyes, but then the most menacing eyes on just the touch of a hat. And you're like, I don't know where Gary's going with this.
Yeah.
And I just hope it's the good one, not the bad one. But that's been a little gem of a show.
But it's very good. A lot of backstabbing, a lot of stuff where you don't know where it's going to go next. There's some tropes in it that kind of make you laugh.
Yes.
Long periods of one of the main characters running around a lot, so he's just sprinting around cityscapes. Like, what the fuck are you doing? But again, that's tropes of British dramas. They do lots of running into the distance or running towards the camera. I don't know why they've decided to do that from the 1990s, but they still do it now.
But shout out to their stunt coordinator, because the stunts that are done in the show are absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, stunts were great. They do hand-to-hand combat. Special effects were amazing as well. There's some really good special effects. Again, if you are squeamish, there is a lot of gore in this.
Yes.
It kind of comes out of nowhere as well, so again, be prepared for it. There's a lot of tension in it. It's very stressful to watch at times, but if you're okay with that kind of thing, 100% recommend give it a go. We're going to start watching season 2 tomorrow because season 4 came out last week, so it comes out every week. There's only 6 episodes per season, so you can get through it pretty quickly. But every episode, every show, it's on Apple TV, but every single season has been critically acclaimed. I kind of heard about it. I knew of it. But I didn't really like Slow Horses. The name didn't really do anything for me. I thought it was about fucking gambling.
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck is Gary Oldman in a gambling show? So I like this. That's not really my cup of tea. I'm not really interested in it. I never really bet on horses. So, but yeah, I thought that's what it was about. I literally thought it was about him and a crack team of gamblers, and they were trying to like beat the system or something. Until I read the synopsis, and I'm like, right, it's about spooks, right? Spies, gotcha. Right. Fall of the Berlin Wall, that kind of thing. Cool. All right, yeah, gotcha now. I'm like, yeah, I got that a little bit wrong. So I'm glad I kind of looked that up so I didn't end up coming out saying, yeah, Slow Horses, is it about gambling? Yeah. So I'm glad that didn't happen.
For the first season we've just seen, I can understand why it's been 2, 3, 4 seasons down the line, because it was very gripping. They've obviously got great writers on the show. I know Gary Oldman is the front runner, but they've got some really good British acting, and the actors in it are just sublime. They really, just like very serious, very intense. If that's your kind of show, I think you'll love it. Same goes for Shogun that we were just talking about. If you like it, an intense, good plot that keeps you on your seat.
So we're coming up to 2-hour mark. We're switching to Studio 2.
Studio 2! Hey, look at this. Isn't this nice? Feel very cozy now, Dan. Very cozy. These cozy vibes happening.
So, for those that missed, this is Studio 1. And this is Studio 2.
Ooh.
It's like we teleported like magic.
Woo! Vote now in the chat wherever you're watching from. Do you like Studio 1 or 2 best?
So, Studio 1.
Studio 1.
Studio 2.
Studio 2.
So,
I will just touch upon you saying about Gary Oldman. I've got to mention, as it is our weekly news, he was speculated to want to come back to play the role as Dumbledore in the new Harry Potter series that they're now casting for. They've supposedly started to look for who's going to be playing Harry, Hermione and Ron. They're all going to be the ages that they were when they started the movie, supposedly. So anybody between 9 and 11 are going to be cast for the roles. So
sausage rolls.
I would gather that the seasons are going to be as they grow older. So this is going to be quite a long series. This is going to be every single year they're going to be getting older. So I'm very interested to see how that pans out. But Gary Oldman came across and said he would love to play Dumbledore, which, in all fairness, I can't see him as an older character, but he is an older man now. He's 66 years old. He could well and truly play it.
He's always played an older man though in his films. Like,
He's got maturity to him, yes.
When he was a younger man, obviously he played younger roles. But when he I'd say when he's 40s onwards, he kind of always played a much older character. He never played characters his actual age, which I always thought was weird. But if it works for him, so
this would be perfect then in some regards. I was apprehensive at first, thinking if he was Dumbledore, I just will always see him as Sirius. I won't see him as anyone else. But I gather that's a lovely way of having a nod to the Harry Potter movies. If they're making the series, they've got to have some little nods here and there. They're saying that Daniel Radcliffe could be Professor Snape.
I'd be very surprised if Daniel Radcliffe comes back to the Harry Potter universe.
I would be very surprised as well.
He's
but
been trying his entire
people
career
are trying
to
to surmise anybody that might come back. But I know one of the definites is Gary Oldman has stated he would love to be Dumbledore. So let us know what you think on that one, guys.
You think he did a great Churchill? He did.
He did, yes.
He did do a very good Churchill.
He's got so many. I always remember him in Fifth Element. I think he's one of the best villains.
I am very disappointed.
That's the one.
Yeah, he plays. That's the thing. He's a good character actor. He's good at playing a protagonist, an antagonist. He can play both sides of the coin.
He's a chameleon for sure.
Yeah.
He developed. He's
give him a makeup chair. He comes up with the shit.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so just checking what else we're talking about.
There's so much this week. Let's be fair. We've got loads of things that we want to touch upon. Most of them have been in the gaming world and obviously the TV world. I do love a new show coming out around the September, October time. I'm not going to lie. As it gets a little bit colder, a bit more crispy outside, warmed up with a cup of tea, watching a good show. That's what I want to be doing when it gets a bit colder outside. So it's good to know that there's all different ones. There is a show that a lot of people are talking about called Agatha All Along. I don't know if you want to.
I'm already ahead of you.
You're already ahead of me. See, that's why we do this.
Right. So, did I become wise? I did, my friend. Unfortunately, thank you. Unfortunately, I'm having some issues with becoming wise. I'm getting errors, so maybe you can help me out with those. I'll send you a message tomorrow, mate, if you're around, or if you pick it up Monday. But yeah, I'm having issues with it. It's telling me that I've
not so wise.
Yeah, there's something not right. I don't really know what I'm doing. I've tried to get in touch with their technical help, but they've not got back to me. So maybe it's something I'm doing wrong. I'm not sure. But yes, it's there. We just can't get access to the wiseness. If that makes sense. Okay, so Agatha All Along. Agatha All Along. I don't see the point in this show. I'm going to be honest.
Okay, everybody pull up a chair. This is where we're going to have a little bit of a chat.
As shows go, I don't see the point in it. I don't know where the fan base is for this. I don't know where you could call yourself a fan on Agatha Harkness. Not a very well-known character in the Marvel universe, I'd say. She's definitely not like an A character. She's probably more like D or E somewhere. I'm not really... I've maybe seen a few comics with her in, but again, not like one that's really made any impact on me at all. The story is this is a few years after Wanda dispelled the area after agreeing to leave because she was nuts. But due to the residual powers of doing the spell in the first place, a lot of the place was still under the illusion that or under the Wanda illusion, I should say. Agatha was the worst affected due to what Wanda did to her in the previous show, and this is her finding her groove, witchy groove back.
I think the direction they're going is that it is heading towards the October month, the spooky season as some call it. And if you're into your witches and all that supernatural goodness...
Oh, well, Angel, thank you.
That is definitely where the show is trying to head towards is all the supernatural witchy stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we've watched the first episode, haven't we?
We did.
And I think if you watch it for yourself, you'll be like in our opinion of you just don't know where to place it quite yet. Maybe it'll get better, but from the pilot, from the first episode, it just seems very disjointed and it seems very bland. And I think the humour is very missed. Like, I don't think they're hitting with the jokes that they're trying to. It's,
I didn't
it's a
get
little
the
hit
humour.
and miss.
I didn't get the humour fell completely on its arse for me. I was just watching that. I consider trying to be funny and ironic or
sarcastic, but it doesn't come across.
Yeah, it just comes across as really badly, like a toddler's written the script. You know, it was just what the fuck.
It is supposed to be aimed at a more childlike audience, but when we watched it, we thought...
I wouldn't say that was aimed at a childlike audience.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say.
I don't know what age group this is supposedly aimed at, but there's nudity in it. There's open gayness in it. Graphic as well. Like it's not like two girls having a smooch. It gets a little bit overcharged sexually, I'd say, in the last 10-15 minutes.
There is gore as well. There is
Cobb
blood.
and I are not conservative by any means. Like, we're like, let your freak flag fly, man. Like, we don't give a shit. But if it's aimed at kids, don't let your kid watch this. 100%. Like, get you just cancel your Disney Plus. Like, do it. Just show Disney you don't want to watch this shit. In all seriousness, no, without satire aside. Again, I don't know who the show's made for. I don't know where they're going with it. It's pointless. It's not leading to anything. I feel like this show is the last bastion of what everybody touted as the MCU. I know everybody was saying it. I'm not. Again, I like.
Do you have to go there, Dan? Have to go
but
there.
I mean, it's this. I think this is the last bastion of it. I think this is the last bits of content that was in that time period. You got to think this show has been cut to fuck. It's been reshot so many times because they didn't really know what to do with it. I feel like they've gone they've doubled down on this show because it's.
I think because WandaVision did so well and it did have a good audience and it was a decent
Crank
show.
ourselves, yeah, we'll be quiet again.
It was a decent show. I enjoyed WandaVision. I wouldn't say it was revolutionary, but I loved the entire aesthetic.
Yeah.
I loved seeing the different perspective from Wanda and Vision.
Cog, talking to you, Mike.
I love the whole...
There's your audience.
Yeah.
Don't look at me, not talking to me, talk to them.
Well, if you guys agree or disagree, I think that WandaVision was a great show. I loved everything about it. I thought the aesthetic was great. And I think because of the success of that, they've now tried to pull anything they got from it, especially Agatha, and made this series. And you can tell that they're pulling on straws on what to use because they're not knowing where to place her quite yet. Maybe that was the episode we saw. Maybe it will all make sense in a few episodes to come. But this first one, it was definitely, they were trying to throw everything at it, bar nothing at the same time, if that makes any sense.
No, it doesn't. So, because it doesn't make any sense. I don't know why the fuck they made this show.
Yeah.
So it looks, at first glance, I mean, at the first glance, they were trying to take the piss and make a procedural cop drama, is how it starts. And again, it falls flat in his face because it's not funny. The script isn't funny. The overacting isn't funny. They're trying to show you that what she's experienced isn't again, this isn't spoilers. It's in the trailer. They're trying to show you that what she's seeing isn't real. And we get that. But you keep pushing it so fucking hard that by the time it's revealed or she works it out, you're like, oh, fucking hell, it's taken 25 fucking minutes to get this far and I'm exhausted already. Do I really want to watch the rest of this? There's a completely, as far as we can tell, pointless character that's been added into it. That's not even got a name. He's just called Teen.
That is literally the name, Teen.
And I'm a little bit disappointed by...
Audrey Plaza?
Yeah. Because I thought she was very anti this kind of shit, but she's obviously not because she's in it. And I think maybe she joined the project because it's got shock value, but the shock value falls flat because it's too much.
Yes.
It comes out of nowhere. I mean, you can see that like they try to build something between the two characters during the episode, but it falls flat. So there's a sexually charged bit that I feel like they just did to get viewership that, again, falls very flat because they're not... the character Agatha is put across as a crazy cat lady, middle-aged, not very attractive in the way because of the way that she is. I don't know why they're trying to make her that way. I'm not really sure. I don't know what they're trying to do with that. And then all of a sudden there's a sexually charged scene that seems like it was odd, like, into the episode, and it didn't bring anything to the story, and it made no fucking sense. And then they dropped a load of names in. Again, I don't read the Agatha comics, Harkness comics, because the character is no interest to me. But those that do know the character, maybe they can explain this to us. But they drop like the 7, like loads of names in the mix, and just like, I don't know who any of these people are, so I don't really give a shit. And because I've got no emotional attachment to the character, if she gets taken out, all right, cool. That means the season's over and they can move on to somebody else. Because chronologically, it's Agatha after all.
All Along.
All Along. What the fuck? See, I can't get the fucking name of the show right. You've then got Vision, which is the next part, and then you've got Vision again, which is following the comics. So it starts off with White Vision, and then by the second season, if they do 2 seasons, it will then be the Red and Green Vision, which we know from the comic books. Well, we know White Vision as well, because obviously it was white at one point. But it's him finding his humanity and finding his place in the world, and then rejoining the Avengers, ready for Secret Wars, which is where he reappears again as Red and Green Vision in the comics. If that's too much information, I apologize, but that's just the way that's the timeline. I mean, again, this is the point. I don't understand why this show's a thing. Again, I believe, I guess it's because it is the last remnants of the MCU. This is all the failing stuff. They knew it wasn't going to make any money, but because they've thrown so much money at it, they've got to release it to try and recoup something. Because I think it's like $120 million. I think on this show.
It's a crazy amount of money that they've dropped.
$120 million. $120 million.
My head is spinning.
This is
it's a lot
Agatha
to
All
take
Along.
in.
So, yeah, this is a show that's around the character Agatha Harkness, and again, she's not a character that is very well known. She's not like an A-star or A+ superhero, villain, etc. She's not. She's never really been on my radar. I know she's had run-ins with Wanda, and her son Gypsy, and a couple of the young Avengers. But I've never really seen her have any kind of pivotal role in the comic book. So I don't know what she's about. I don't know why they've made a show around her. It didn't really make any sense. But supposedly it's a bridge between this and the Vision story. So there's continuity, but. In all honesty, you could have just fucked this off and just made the Vision show, and I think more people would have watched it.
Definitely. Would it be Paul Bettany playing Vision, or is it going to be...
Nobody knows, because he's not had... They're not even in talks with him about his contract.
Oh, wow, okay.
So it might be somebody completely different.
Which would be interesting. I love Paul Bettany as Vision. It'd be nice...
I mean, Paul Bettany is getting on.
He is, exactly. That's what I mean. If they're going to do a younger...
He's getting close to the 60 mark, isn't he?
Yes.
So... 60 years old, you don't really want to be stuck in a heavy prosthetic, do you? You want to be...
Well, hold on, let's see.
He's got to be coming up to his 60, or at least mid-50s, I would say.
I don't know if he's quite 60, but if he is, he's 53. He's 53. So, but even so, even though he's more than capable to still play Vision, there will come a point if they're doing things from his past, they'll need a younger person or a younger actor, and then he can play his older self again. And I think.
But Vision doesn't age as an android.
Oh yeah. So it wouldn't make sense.
Unless,
unless
they make him look older, like maybe it's when he finds his humanity go because a facelift to look like an old man. I don't know.
No, they can just do the special effects they did with Robert Downey Jr. when they made him look younger in one of the Avengers movies, if you recall. They made him very youthful, and they went back in time.
They just gave him a soft filter.
They gave him a very soft filter, so maybe give Paul Bettany some soft filterage.
But yeah, so Agatha is part of the Marvel Universe. She's a villain in the Marvel Universe. So she's part of the Coven. I'm sure it's called the Coven, which is a witchy sect. And it's basically based in Salem. So this is where they all come from. Again, it's very on the nose. And because of she ends up breaking loads of rules. She's always in odds with the Coven because she keeps breaking the rules. And in this story, she stole the Darkhold, which then Wanda got hold of, and then started doing all that shenanigans in the Doctor Strange movie. It's keeping in line with the comic books, really, sort of. Again, it's all over the place. But they could have easily have just made her a footnote at the end of Wanda, or maybe just did one of those Marvel shorts they did, and just gone, okay, she's back out in the universe again, and then maybe they could have brought her back in with something else. But giving her her own show, I don't see the fucking point.
I don't think she has the standalone quality as a character as well as a.
No, she's not got enough
plot.
chops. She's like, there's nothing to this character. And again, who is this made for?
I think it's made for people that need a Halloween show throughout September and October. And I think it's trying to be a little bit like Sabrina and mix all those sort of old
Sabrina,
witchy
if she become a bitter old cat lady, spinster. So this is basically what Sabrina's aunts look like.
Sabrina's aunt. This is not Agatha All Along. Sabrina's aunt.
All along, yeah. So this is older ladies in their 40s and 50s trying to appeal to a younger audience which probably don't really give a flying fuck.
No.
I mean, if you were to put like one of the high points of, I think, probably Disney Plus is when it's Halloween and people just watch Hocus Pocus. They won't watch 2 because that's a fucking train wreck. But they'll watch 1. Hocus Pocus is a great film.
I grew up with Hocus Pocus.
I think it's great. I've got nothing against Halloween. Like, just putting it out there. I know I bitch about it. Like, mostly used to wind people up. I just don't like it when they start banging on about it in fucking September. This is my fucking birthday month, bitch. It's Halloween. As soon as it turns October 1st, you can wank over Halloween all you fucking want. But in September, it's still hot here. We're still sweating our nuts off every fucking day. We don't start getting cold here till like the end of November. So you can fuck off with your Halloween. If we leave our pumpkins outside on the 31st, they cook in the sun.
We'll have pumpkin pie when we go back out.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, again, it's because X amount of weeks to Halloween. Cog's quite right. I think it's going to be 6 episodes. So it's 6 weeks, so it kind of works that the show will finish, I think, at the end of October. I think that's right, isn't it? 6 weeks?
Yeah.
It could be 8 episodes.
It will finish in October, definitely.
Yeah. So it's a Halloween-y show about witches that fits in this time period all this time of year.
There's a void to be made with a certain audience that they need their Halloween series. And I think this is what's going to try and fill it. But unfortunately, I think it's missing the mark entirely. It's
Again, one of the downsides to having the weekly show, and there aren't many, but there is one or two.
Yeah.
We have to watch this shit so you guys don't have to.
Yeah.
And I've got brain rot from watching 1 episode, so I don't know how I'm going to do 6. I hope there's only 6. If there's 8, I'm going to fucking cry, I think.
So just do yourself a favour, chat. Just don't watch it.
If you're massively into the Coven and witches, don't watch it because it's nothing about that at all.
No.
They've literally... They've tried to over-sexualise witchdom or witches. They've tried to over-sexualise it. They've shoehorned in... Well, I'm guessing it's going to be a lesbian relationship. I'm not really sure. Because it's so fucking ambiguous. You're just like...
Oh, right.
They made Agatha so unlikable in the first episode. Like, you fucking hate her by the end of it. You wouldn't give a fuck if she's dead or not. It's like, just end it so we can only have to watch a couple of episodes of it. Will that change? I don't know. I mean, again, you can have a lovable villain. You can do that. You can have the anti-hero. You can do that. I mean, they did it with Loki to a certain degree until they fucked up season 2 of that. But season 1 was okay, and he was pretty funny in Thor, and yeah. Again, it's kind of like it's pushing the envelope, isn't it? So again, having a character that and a villain that nobody really knows because the comic's very unknown, unless you're a massive Wanda fan. Wanda Maximoff, you wouldn't really know who the fuck she is. And again, having like a D-class villain having her own shit, I don't get it. Are they maybe they're just running out of villains, or they're running out of heroes that they feel that would resonate with a modern audience.
We did say
and
ages
look how
back,
that's going for everything at the moment.
We did say ages back with the Marvel franchise is that they have a tendency of killing off villains very quickly, which then doesn't leave them for future stories. And I think that's what's happened with Agatha, is that they're, like you said, I think they're pulling on as many villains as that they can now because they've killed off all the big boys, should we say?
Yeah, Marvel Universe have definitely got a villain problem. They want to kill them all off, and although nobody stays dead in the Marvel Universe, same as the DC Universe, nobody ever truly stays dead.
They could bring someone back at any time.
They could bring somebody back. I think they're going to end up bringing back Thanos. I think that's going to be a thing. I think the Marvel Cinematic Universe are clutching at straws now. We've seen that from bringing back Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. I'm not saying he's going to be a crap Doom. Robert Downey Jr. is a great actor. He's played some really good roles in his time. I mean, he's plays from one end of the spectrum to the other. He's a very good character actor. I'm not knocking him as an actor at all, but again, the problem with him is we know him so well as Iron Man. Can we separate him and Iron Man so he can play Doctor Doom? We don't know what iteration of Doctor Doom is going to be. The fan theory is it's the version where they both go to the same university, and Doctor Doom ends up killing Tony Stark because he's a playboy and a pisshead. He doesn't really concentrate on what he's doing. Then he ends up taking Tony Stark's face and then becomes Tony Stark, which then takes his billions and then gives it to Latveria and then becomes Doctor Doom, or Iron Doom, where he's Iron Man Doom. Could be that. That would make sense. Could be that he's a multiverse iteration, so he ends up he works because he's Doctor Doom, works out how to travel through different universes, and then ends up in universe 666 or whatever the fuck. Again, multiverse stuff or multi-dimensional stuff is really lazy fucking writing, because you can get away with blue murder when you bring multi-dimensional content into anything, because you can pull people out of their, you can pull any dead hero out of anywhere, because you just go, oh yeah, but it's another version of that character. So we can bring back Cap, we can bring back Iron Man, we can bring back the Fantastic Four, we can bring, like that, because none of them are truly dead. They're still alive because they're another version of the Cap. Yeah, you're just like, all right, okay.
This is going to make things so much more complicated.
It makes it overly complicated. It's lazy writing. I don't understand, again, where they're going to just wrap this multiverse shit up, because people are bored of it. Mm. I think they need to focus on Secret Wars, because it's a great comic book series. It's probably one of Marvel's strongest in about 20 years. You have got another Civil War you could do as well, which is Iron Man versus Captain Marvel. But again, Captain Marvel, unfortunately, Brie Larson's Captain Marvel is very unlikable due to Brie Larson, because she's a massive bitch.
People have such a beef with Brie Larson.
I don't have a beef with her. Everybody else does.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen Brie Larson in interviews?
Not many, no.
Narcissist. Comic stuff. It made a multiverse so common it's used more than toilet paper now. Exactly, and it's very lazy writing. I guess they're trying to make TV shows rated X nowadays. I mean, they could be. Yep, Strad, that was a great line, mate. It could be that. It could be that. I think they're just going for shock value. I think they're just trying to make something out of nothing, because there is no substance to this show. I will be very surprised if we get the end of this go, oh, okay, yeah, that was worth me wasting 6 hours on that.
You don't know. I think we said,
we do.
Yeah.
I think we know.
We can already see from that first episode, it sort of gives us a big inclination. I just think it's a show that's been made for Halloween. I feel like Disney have just gone, we need a Halloween show. We've got no Halloween movies.
What we need is Desperate Housewives Witch Edition.
Oh my God.
That is what we need. If Terry Hatcher shows up, I'm done.
Desperate Housewives, Witch Edition.
Desperate Housewives Witch Edition. This is what I'm calling it. So if you guys can coin this for us.
Yeah.
Agatha All Along is Desperate Housewives Witch Edition. Not as in like, I don't know what fucking edition it is. I mean as in which. I'll get you and your little dog too. Sorry, my witch sounds like Skeletorus because I can't do a witch. You could probably do a cackle.
Cackle, cackle.
Well,
Skeletor could just as well. He could be, a character in it. They're throwing everybody out anyway, so you might as well.
Yeah, we'll bring back Red Skull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put them all in it.
Throw them all in there, yeah. But yeah, if you're looking for a Desperate Housewives Witch Edition, this show's for you. If you're looking for a witch show that's interesting or expecting to be like Buffy or Sabrina the Teenage Witch,
It's
light-hearted
not that.
comedy, it's not that. It's don't know what the fuck this is. The first episode was very difficult to get through. I nearly turned it off 3 times, but Cog said we got to keep watching this.
Yeah,
we
got to get
show
through.
everybody.
We got to
I've
get
got
through.
to get used to watching shit again. So I hope you guys are happy. So if you want to help me get through the week because we got to watch all this shit so you don't have to, become a Patreon. Sorry, become a Ko-Fi-an. Because we don't do Patreon anymore. Become a Ko-Fi-an. Become a super member on YouTube. Become a subscriber on Kick.
Support us so we can get through these shows, guys.
Support us so we can get through these shows and make more content for you guys to soak up and watch. If you're enjoying the weekly show, let us know. If you don't agree with our opinions, let us know.
Yeah.
Remember to comment, like, and subscribe on the video. It does really help us out, guys. Comments are amazing. Likes are phenomenal. Sharing the video, just putting it out there, it all really helps. It all really, really helps. If you see us tweet anything about the show, we're going to be trying to put up as much content from this as we can. All of it really helps. Again, we need to get the word out there that the weekly show is back so we can hopefully start getting more people in to watch. The end game is that we get guests on as well so we can have another sense of opinion other than me just being very pragmatic and arseholish and Cog being lovely. We can have somebody else also being pragmatic and arseholish. But who knows? I knows. You knows?
I knows.
So Agatha All Along. Not much else to say about it other than, yeah,
Meh.
Desperate Housewives Witch Edition and a fucking mess and unnecessary. I'd give first episode I'd give a 2 out of 10.
That's being nice. Yeah. 2 out of 10 for Agatha All
nice.
Along.
But yeah, also the other thing we need to say about Variety, because again it's been brought up in the news, is that Variety are very sore about the Acolyte failing so miserably because they wanted to be the front runner of pushing that show and making a success because they were gaslighting the internet into thinking that people that didn't agree with them in the fact that they said it was a great show and it deserved a second season, again, they've tried to get everybody cancelled that's not agreed.
Why?
Again, the internet was made, or the internet used to be, especially on forums and stuff, you could discuss and have your own opinion, and if you didn't agree with the guy above you in the comment above, you'd discuss it, you'd slag each other off a little bit, and then that's it. You go, all right, you're the better man. Or, you'd find their address and steal their cat.
Yeah. Not the cats. Anything but the cats. But it does, with Variety, they did have some interviews regarding Agatha, because they had a premiere, I believe, for the show.
Yeah.
And you could see by all of their interactions with everybody that worked on Agatha, even they aren't convinced that the show's even worth the watch. If you listen to what their answers are, there's this really excitable Variety interviewer. I don't know his name, and he's asking the most.
One of the 2 gay guys at Variety.
Yeah, and he's
we'll call him
asking
gay guy number 2.
But all he asks in his questions is, do you think the characters are gay? Do you think this is a gay universe?
Do you think this is supposedly the gayest show that Disney's ever made?
Yeah. And it's just like, okay, maybe. But they've just not convinced with Agatha at all. I just, after seeing all of their responses, it just seems like, sure. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I mean, again, if Variety are very deep in with Disney, because Variety obviously are part of Hollywood Reporter, and there's loads of other, unfortunately, access media that they've all got the same opinion because they're all owned by the same company. Variety, I think it's Variety, Rolling Stone magazine, Hollywood Reporter. I can't remember the others, but if you go through their reviews, etc., they've all got the same opinion, and they're all pushing the same opinion. And again, if anybody disagrees with that opinion, you then get trounced on the internet.
Yeah.
And they send their little mates to come and slag you off or get you demonetized on YouTube. And this, again, this isn't us making it up. This is what's happening.
Yes.
Every single day. And it needs to stop, because again, you should be allowed to have your own opinion on the internet. If you don't like a show, you don't like a show. If you like a show, as Ghost Badger's come in because he's got no taste, but all right. If he comes in and says he likes a show, all right, cool, awesome. I'm glad he likes a show. I'm not going to hate him for it. I'm not going to call him a wanker for it. It's like, if he likes a show, he likes a show. It's personally not to my taste. I think it's a waste of time. I think there's so much better they could be giving us on TV. We could be getting some really good fucking shows, but they just keep giving us shit. But again, this is the good thing about what we do on the weekly show, is that it's giving you the option to discuss it, talk about it, and then both parties might not agree by the end of it, but at least you've been able to have a discussion and put your point across, instead of it just being, no, you're wrong, I'm right, fuck you. We don't do that here.
Nothing progresses like that.
We don't do that. We listen to both sides of the argument. Yeah,
Always.
like, again, we are a neutral party. We give our opinion. Not everybody's going to agree with our opinion, but, we understand that's the internet. But we try to make it a space where you can discuss it in an adult fashion without being an arsehole about it.
Which I'm really excited about, because then we get all different perspectives on everything. But we can only wait and see how it progresses as a show. It might surprise us.
I doubt it. But, stranger things have happened.
They have, yes.
I'm trying to think of a show that I really hated, and then I ended up liking at the end of it. I'm trying to, I'm racking my brains now. Can anybody else think of a show that you really hated at the start, and then at the end of it you really ended up loving it?
I'm going to be controversial with this one.
Go on.
Supernatural. I didn't like Supernatural when it began, because it was a bit too Vampire Diaries for me, and then it got better as it went along. But it wasn't abysmal at the beginning. It still had some factors to it that kept you engrossed. So nothing as bad as...
All right, hot take on Supernatural. I thought the specials were better than the main story.
Oh, 100%. I love
all the spin-off
specials.
stuff where it wasn't focused on the main story were the best episodes. So there was normally 3 of them per season.
Scooby-Doo one always stood out to me.
Scooby-Doo one's fantastic. See, I think they've got great chemistry, the brothers on screen.
Yeah.
But sometimes the writing was very weak. And I think that, again, they had great actors. There was great support actors in it. And I don't think it was ever down to the acting. I don't think it was ever down to it was always down to a weak story and the scripts being a bit shit, and then...
Well, with most shows, they change writers for certain given episodes.
True, but they were relying too much on the same tropes. It was either going to be Sam would die, or... Dean would die, and then they'd end up coming back the next season, because you knew they'd never stay dead.
No.
So I got to a point where, it was like 13 seasons, right? Was it 13 seasons?
Yeah.
Was it 15 seasons? I can't remember. It was a lot of seasons.
Do you need to...
So you kind of got used to the fact that even though they died that season, all right, you'd have to wait 6 months for him to come back, but you knew that one of them would come back in whatever shape or form.
It was 15 seasons in total.
15 seasons. There was 15 seasons of that, which is what I think by maybe seasons 12 onwards, I think people got sick of that trope and maybe just watched the specials. Well, they probably watched the entire show, because, again, if 15 seasons is a long time. So that's a long time for something to be on your TV. So they probably watched it because they got used to it, and it was part of their
daily routine.
Their daily routine, yeah. But for me personally, I loved the specials. I loved the spin-offs. I didn't really think the main story never really gripped me. It did up to about season 6 and 7, but then when I got used to it always being Sam or Dean dying, and then one of them come back, I was kind of like, yeah, I'm not invested in this now.
You see the rotation happening in the show.
I'm not invested in this now.
But Supernatural's Ghostface's subplot was a bane of my existence till episode 2. Then it got really good. Yeah, exactly. There was like a lull period, and then it got better. But I wouldn't say anything was quite like Agatha from its first episode that I can think of on the top of my head. If I think of one, I'll put it somewhere on the socials. I'll get you thinking, guys. If there's a show that you feel wasn't great to begin with and then got better, let us know as well, so we can discuss it in probably future weekly shows or in future
yeah, again,
videos.
So one of the things we want to play with, again, it's not set in stone yet, because unfortunately our time is really limited, as you guys know. But we want to do like Hollywood, You Should Make That is going to be one of the other shows we're going to do. So we're going to take old properties that have maybe not been looked at for 20, 30 years and break it down and maybe turn them into a film. I mean, we're not just talking about TVs and shows, talking about books, comics, whatever, that would work as a series or would work as a movie or would work as a game. And then we do the different genres each week. And then we go, you should be making this. You should be making that. And then we do a big discussion of it, live again. And then you guys tune in and tune out, whatever. And then we put it up online, and then hopefully we'll just start a discussion. Again, it's all. I'd love having a discussion. I'd love talking to people about stuff. And what I will say, and people that have been watching me a long time know already, I am a fucking wind-up merchant, and I know how to wind people up.
Really? Who knew?
And if you make it easy for me, I will wind you up. And again, it's good for you because it gets you all smoking and steamed. And then you're like, fuck you, Dan. I'm going to smash this day.
No one is safe. Put it that way.
I'm going to smash it out of the park. I'm going to teach you a lesson by saying what I said was right or whatever. I don't care. Whatever. Fuck.
Ketchup's better than mustard.
If we ever have a discussion, you got to take into account that I am going to wind you up, okay? Because that's what I do. I'm terrible at it. I'd never mean it out of spite. It's always from a good place. Just sometimes you need your belief system shook up a little bit. Because if you only see one point of view, you become very narrow-visioned and insular, and then you're not willing to take on any other kind of points of view from anywhere else, because, and it's not a good place to be in. I think it's always good to be on the fence, but also being out to, but so you can see both points of view, so you can see what they're saying and what they're saying. I think that's a lot of problem with, again, without getting too political, I think that's a lot of problem with politics at the moment, is that there's too many people either there or there, and there's not enough people there. And if there's more people there talking sense, I think this side and this side would then probably see more like this. I think more people would come together. But because they're becoming too left, they're becoming too right. Sorry, right, left. I'm sorry, I'm dyspraxic. Right, left. And they're getting further and further apart from each other. They're never going to see in the middle anywhere. So we're always going to have infighting. I think until that time where we start going more like that, and going, all right, I don't agree with you, but okay, fair point. Right, I don't agree with you on that, but okay, fair point, or whatever. But again, it's all down to a discussion. And I think democracy and everything else is at stake now, because all we're seeing online is underhanded tactics and not real politics. And I think until that changes, we're stuck in this fucking loop, man. It's already happened in the UK. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going to happen in the US in November as well. Shit needs to change sooner rather than later. But getting off of that, because again, we don't like talking about politics.
No.
To round up what we've been talking about so far, Lovey Leeds guy, old dude, talking about museums and going to museums, and I think more people should be in museums because not enough people are going to museums. Gen Z and Gen Alpha, guys, you got to go to the fucking museums, because you don't know, if you don't learn about history, you're not a well-rounded individual. You need to know where you come from, and you need to know where you've been. Name that show.
Oh.
Because without that, I mean, if you don't know where your ancestors been, or what your granddad did, or what your great granddad did, you know, they did some amazing shit, and they
And
you
you'd
know,
never know about it unless you go to some museums.
So yeah, go check out the Royal Armouries Museum in Leeds. Are doing is this one of the older tour guides has done like a Gen Z take on it. It's pretty funny. It's very you can see he's loving it. And again, he made a lovely statement. I was trying to find a statement so you could watch it. He made a lovely statement saying, I didn't even know what viral was. I didn't understand what viral was. I thought it was like, oh, I'm not sick, am I? But yeah, it's just an old guy having a bit of fun. So yeah, check that out. Also, the junk food ban again from next year, 2025. They're going to stop showing you junk food ads until the 9 p.m. watershed. Again, this is the BBC, so it could be bullshit. Who knows? The BBC is very good at talking absolute bollocks. Just putting it out there. Oh, thanks. I've got an update. Oh, I got an Intel update. Maybe it stopped my thing from overloading. Don't watch Captain Laserhawk because it's just shit. Obviously, again, we talked about Concorde. Instead of it being the 180 million, they wasted 400 million. And this is going to be subjected to mass job loss at Sony in 2025. So keep an eye out for that. Not cool at all. Obviously, Phil Spencer as well, knowing about the layoffs previously to making the announcement, didn't tell any of the staff. So it was a surprise to them. They got laid off out of nowhere.
That's
again,
terrible.
Underhanded corporate tactics because Phil Spencer is a cunt. The Penguin. If you've not seen The Penguin yet, go check out The Penguin. We gave the first episode a solid 6 out of 10. It's a different take on the character. It's very Sopranos, Goodfellas. If you like a good mafia show, definitely go give it a watch. Just a warning, though, it is very gory. It does take a turn, so if you're a bit squeamish, just giving you a heads up. But yeah, go give it a watch. We really enjoyed it. We think Colin Farrell's amazing as a Penguin.
It will blow you away to think that's even him under that makeup.
The makeup's astounding. It's absolutely phenomenal. I can't go over it either.
So if you're needing your DC fix, this is actually a decent DC show to get involved with.
Obviously, Tomb Raider as well. Tomb Raider the series. Again, not very impressed with it. They've made her a girl boss when she's never really been a girl boss. She's just been a very well-written, well-rounded character that fucks up, makes mistakes, just like the rest of us, because we're all human.
Are we?
I believe so. Oh, no, you're a fairykin. Yeah. Shogun, amazing again. Loads of awards. Totally deserved. Phenomenal cast, phenomenal acting. Can't wait to see seasons 2 and 3.
This show got the stamp of approval.
Yeah, 100% weekly show stamp of approval. I wish we were around when this was out because I would have loved to talk about every episode, but we can do it with seasons 2 and 3, so we're excited about that.
Definitely.
Agatha All Along, again, if you like Desperate Housewives, Witches Edition, yeah, again, I don't know
Get
what
your
the
pumpkin spice lattes ready.
I think this is made for the basic bitch white girl or whoever the fuck, because it's not made for me. I didn't enjoy it. I think shit like this needs to stop immediately. But
if you need a series to get you through until Halloween, maybe this is the one.
Just go watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
I know, because that one's
just go watch that. What do you want to watch this shit for?
What about Hubie Halloween? That's a great little show. Now, talking on Halloween movies, that would be a whole nother debate and a whole nother conversation we need to do for a future show.
We'll do a Halloween special because we used to do that every year. So we'll do a Halloween special.
There we go. So give us some ideas of your favourite Halloween movies, guys.
Oh no, sorry, she drowned a fairy.
Don't get started on what's happened on streams. If you guys want to check out what that's all about, when we do our streams in the week, some shenanigans happen, and I won't take it. I didn't do nothing. It wasn't me. I didn't do nothing. Also, being Batman Day, I've seen some cool pictures come up on social media. So if you guys
so let us know if you're going to be celebrating Batman Day today or tomorrow at some point this weekend. Are you going to be watching what episodes from the animated series you're going to watch? You're going to be watching maybe one of the movies, the Nolan trilogy. What are you going to be doing?
I've got to ask you though, as it is Batman Day, who is your favourite Batman, Dan? Who would you put as your top tier Batman? For me, I would say Michael Keaton. He is
live action Batman. Michael Keaton. Animated, obviously, Kevin Conroy.
Oh, love it.
So it's always, for me, for my Batman, or Batmen, will always be Kevin Conroy and Michael Keaton. Because they're just
great
phenomenal.
Choices.
Yeah.
If you guys have your favourite,
I like Batman Forever, but not because of...
George Clooney?
No.
I know.
That's Batman and Robin.
I know.
We don't talk about that because of bat nipples. Although we
Never.
do, well, like we don't talk about the film at all, but we love Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze just because his one-liners are fucking phenomenal.
He just
But the
has
rest of it
best.
can just go eat a dick.
Yeah.
But yeah, Batman, Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer did a decent job, but he's no Michael Keaton. But I did love Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face and Jim Carrey as the Riddler. I thought they were great choices. So again, that film had its strong points. It wasn't the best in the series at all, but it kind of stayed true to the Tim Burton universe, and it was just good fun. But yeah, Batman and Robin was an abomination. When he pulled out the Bat card, mate, I just thought, no, I just can't fucking watch
It will go down in history for probably all the wrong reasons.
It was terrible, Muriel.
It was terrible. But let's know who your Batman was growing up, guys, as it is Batman Day. We did touch upon us also as well, Gary Oldman being in the show that we've just seen season 1 of, which was Slow Horses.
Yeah.
And potentially being Dumbledore in the Harry Potter TV show. So I will be interested to see who they actually end up casting. But Gary Oldman would be a great choice. I'm not going to be mad at it if it is him.
Just let him be Sirius Black again.
I reckon he could well and truly play Sirius. He's still capable.
Because he's Thurpotherial.
He's Thurpotherial.
Thurpotherial. Yeah, I can't. Have we missed anything? Have we missed anything, guys?
Something very cool about Space Marine 2, though.
Oh, yeah. Space Marine 2 has sold 2 million copies worldwide.
Wowee.
2 million copies. It just the proof's in the pudding, isn't it? That games that are shit undersell and games that are decent keep their concurrent player base and do very well.
We played it ourselves.
If
we
you check
loved
out,
it.
so all the ones I've spoken about on stream, Star Wars Outlaws, as player base has just disappeared. There's nobody playing it. Concord went under within 2 weeks because again nobody played it. Dustborn, I think on at total had 30 people. I think as a higher they paid 220 when people were reviewing it. Again, games that have Sweet Baby Inc. stamp on it or that go anywhere near it just are destined to fail. They
go down the toilet, quite literally.
They attacked the Space Marine 2 focus, the Space Marine 2 developers, saying it was toxic masculinity.
They did?
Have they? the thing is, like, they don't understand any of the universes, or they don't do any kind of background research, or they don't look into the fandom at all. They don't do any of that. They just come out with their rhetoric and just go, it's got to be like this, it's got to be like this, it's got to be like this. That won't work in the 40k universe.
Definitely not.
It won't work in the Warhammer universe, period.
No.
There is it's set as it's set. Space Marines are men. If you're going to be a lady warrior, you're a battle sister, or you're part of the Imperium infantry. Or, I mean, you can be a captain, but you can't be a Space Marine. It's because the male biology can take the transformation into a Space Marine when a lady's biology can't. Again, this is fantasy, but this has been the way it's been since day dot.
It has its own history.
Yeah, so to then change it, or to make, or want to change it, or force to get it changed just to fit your narrative, is fucking bullshit.
It would warp the entire universe as well.
There are thousands of lady gamers that I love playing Space Marine 2. They fucking love clunking around as a fucking Space Marine. Who doesn't love clunking around as a Space Marine? You feel invincible. You're a fucking tank. Like, you got huge arm. Like, it's just, I love the clonk sound.
The
clonking as you're walking around. You just feel. I mean, obviously you're not invincible because you can die at a drop of a hat. But
just
the aesthetic, the universe, the campaign story. I've said this already, but the campaign story was I enjoyed every fucking step of that campaign. At the end of it, I just thought I want to play that again.
It was brilliant.
I want to play it again. Like, that is storytelling. That kept me engaged. I wanted to find out what happened. I'm invested with the characters. And again, there were people of color in the cast, but they were brilliantly well written characters.
They added to the story.
You didn't even focus on the fact one of them was black and one of them was Asian. You didn't give a fuck because they were you hated one because he was an arsehole, and then you liked the other one because he was endearing. Then they flipped it on its arse, and then you hated your character because he was an arsehole. But they all kind of worked through their own issues, and then by the end of it, they all come together because they're brothers. So it was like they were fighting as a family because they are a family. They are a brotherhood. And again, that I think entities like Sweet Baby Inc. they just don't want us to have stuff like that because brotherhood is toxic for whatever the fucking reason. You can't be a man anymore. You're not allowed to be men.
You can't be masculine in any capacity.
No, you have to be effeminate. You have to be asexual. You're not allowed an identity anymore, and that's wrong.
I think there's only one bad review that came out of Space Marine that was like the general consensus, and I think the bad comment was that there wasn't enough of it. I think that's the only thing I've heard negative come from Space Marine 2's release, is that people felt there wasn't enough that was of the game. And when you have a game that states that people didn't feel like they had enough because they want more, is always a good thing. I think it's definitely going to be Game of the Year. If mark my words, Game of the Year is going to be Space Marine 2.
I think, yeah, or was it Wukong?
Wukong?
Yeah, with the monkey god in it.
Yes.
It is Wukong, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be that or Space Marine. I'd be very surprised if one of those don't win Game of the Year because they're both phenomenal games.
And if you played both, let us know what you thought of them as well.
And the beauty of it is, I think the only thing that's working against them is the fact that they've not been tarred with Sweet Baby Inc. influence.
Yeah.
And because they haven't, that might stop them from getting awards. I hope not. I hope that's starting to come to an end, because something we didn't cover today, which I'll brush over very briefly, Ubisoft are in some serious fucking shit. They are systematically trying to rewrite the narrative in the gaming industry by paying out massive amounts of money to different news outlets, to write gleaming reviews of stuff that's obviously horseshit.
But
i.e. Assassin's Creed, which looks awful. And the Japanese government have come out and said they don't agree with the cultural appropriation. I'm not sure if they're going to go as far as to having the game banned from Japan, but they are very upset about it, and it's actually going through Japanese parliament as we speak. I don't know if a decision's been made. I've not really been following the story, but for it to be the entire character of Yakuza, or is it what's his name? The tall black chap in Assassin's Creed who's supposedly a samurai. It was all made up or heavily plagiarized by an English professor who wrote an entire book on the character, was then called out on a radio show because they couldn't find any information in Japanese archives or history about the character at all. He was then called out about it on a radio show, and then he backpedaled and said, well, I've taken some liberties with the character just to make the story more interesting, but then the radio show host then went, but you've written this as historical fact. You've written this book as historical facts and not historical fiction. So you're saying it's more of a novel than an historical book. And he didn't answer the question. He just backpedaled and ignored the question. If you have a look at the Wikipedia of the character, it's all written by the same very white English history professor. And he's made up nearly the entire fucking story of this character.
Tom Smith or something.
Tom Smith. Yeah, his name's fucking Tom Smith, for fuck's sake. And he's sold this idea to Ubisoft historians, or the people that work on the historical parts of Assassin's Creed, and sold it to him as verbatim and fact. And then they've made this character, and they've gone so far deep in the process, and they're backpedaling and saying, oh, no, it's definitely true. It's not fiction. But the author of the book, what the character is based on, has come out and actually admitted that he took massive liberties with the story. He changed the character to a degree where it's unrecognizable, and said he was places he wasn't, which then goes against everything they put in the game. So Ubisoft's complete base argument to there being a black samurai, it is down to race, but it's also down to the fact that that's not how it was back in that time period. You wouldn't have peasants bowing to somebody in a full set of samurai armor, and you definitely wouldn't have samurai murdering other samurai on mass, just like walking through a street and murder. That's not. It just doesn't.
It's completely inaccurate.
Yeah, it's completely inaccurate. Like there's historians like losing their fucking minds over this. Again, you've got the argument where this is a game, so it's not real. I wouldn't have an issue with that then, but then Ubisoft have now gone, but this is based on historical fact.
This was stated.
Them. Not just in one publication, but maybe 30 or 40. We made the character from historical fact, but the historical fact was all novelization and bullshit.
So they can't backtrack now.
This is how bad that the industry has become, that they're gaslighting everybody into believing what they're doing is fact when it's not. I mean, again, like if I look it up, I can't remember the fucking character's name though.
Just go Assassin's Creed Red, and it'll come up with all what you're discussing right now.
Assassin's Creed Red?
Yeah. I believe that's the one you're on about. Shadows. I was close. It's just more and more that's being talked about it. A lot of people are angry. If they would have just said it's their own interpretation, a made-up story, completely fantasy, there would have been no issue. But because they made those multiple statements saying it's based upon...
So, like, here we go. So, according to, again, Screen Rant are shills. They are paid to say this stuff. The Times, again, can't believe anything the Times say because they talk shit as well. New York Times, even fucking worse. Again, they want to talk shit. Game Rant used to be a great publication. Again, unfortunately now complete shit. Well, we know about IGN, guys, because all they give everything is 7 fucking out of 10. Again, the standard. You don't have to fucking believe anymore. But basically, it's not Assassin's Creed fans slamming the decision. It's Assassin's Creed fan calling out Ubisoft's bullshit.
Yes.
Because I'm trying to... Assassin's Creed, set in feudal Japan, the characters... Yasuke, right. So Naoi? Naoi? Am I saying that right? Nao. Could be Nao. Naoi? Yeah. Yasuke, again, was... if you look it up, it was made by a... English professor, historian, supposedly. I don't know. I doubt his credentials at this point. But he's the one that's made up the story of Yasuke. Now there's nobody saying that he never existed, but what's being brought into question is the fact that he was ever given samurai status, and where they're saying he was is completely fictional. So the character or the person may have existed, but his status that they're saying he had and they put into the game is crap. He was probably just either a slave or a the equivalent of maybe a squire. So he'd carry a samurai's sword or his armor for him, and he'd be his constant companion. So he wouldn't have to, because samurai never carried their own armor. They had something to do that for them. Yeah. Especially if they were a noteworthy or part of a lord's contingent, etc., or a shogun's contingent. They'd always have somebody else to carry their armor for them, unless they're going into battle, obviously. But if they're traveling from town to town or city to city, they'd never carry their own armor. But yeah, so the entire argument is, again, all these articles are bullshit. I was trying to find one that was neutral, but I can't. They're all basically saying the same thing: is that Assassin's Creed fans are shelling Assassin's Creed. Now, what they're doing is they're calling out the fact that Ubisoft said one thing, backpedaled and said another thing, and then said something else, and then backpedaled again and said the same thing again. So I can understand why the Japanese are pissed off, because, again, they fabricated a character and touted it to be real when it wasn't. And if you look at the gameplay, I don't know if we've got any gameplay on it. Let me have a look. There might be some on YouTube. A little bit apprehensive about showing YouTube videos on YouTube because you get demonetized, but I think we should be right with a trailer. So again, we're talking about, like, it's just, we're talking about it earlier. This is Star Wars Theory fighting this Paul Tassi guy at the moment.
Oh my gosh.
He's having to make videos on it because it's getting ridiculous.
People need better time on their hands. Put it that way.
So again, this is the Assassin's Creed World trailer. I don't know if this is the one with the issues in it. So they've already... Let's get it on a bigger screen so you guys can see it. Can I let the screen, studio? So what they've done, again, is a classic tactic, especially in this day and age, is they've mixed PS5 and PC footage. So you don't know which is console and which is PC. Again, this is a common practice now. It's annoying because I wish they'd just be honest and just go, this is what it looks like on console, this is what it looks like on PC. Or maybe do a comparison. And again, a lot of this is cinematic, not actual gameplay. So you don't know what's gameplay and what's cinematic. I'm guessing this is also cinematics. I'm guessing this is also cinematics, or it's heavily rendered gameplay. So you've got no idea if it's legit or not. No idea.
You left guessing.
This is gameplay, but again, very heavily rendered. So this isn't what the game will look like on your rig or console. This is over-embellished footage that's been put through many hours of re-rendering. And again, mixture between cinematic and gameplay, so you don't know what's real and what's not. Game volume's a little bit high. It's in there a little bit. So you don't know what's legit and what's not. Again, that could be gameplay, that could be in-game cinematics. So there is a lot of cinematics in Assassin's Creed, as you guys know. It didn't really show any in-game because again, this is the world trailer, right? It barely showed any combat. It barely showed any kind of interaction between the characters. It didn't show you dismounting and remounting the horse, which is funny as fuck. I wish I could find footage. Maybe we'll do a separate video on this. But the in-game, the combat, the simple interactions like picking something up, putting something down, it looks so shit.
So they purposefully just given you re-rendered footage on the trailer. And again, it is a common practice. It does not just Ubisoft that does it. I'm not going to start going on a witch hunt against Ubisoft. So many companies do this now. But again, it's coming to a point where, games are $70 to $100 each. They're not cheap, and
you want proof, or you at least want benefit from separating from that amount of money out of your bank account to know that you're going to get a decent game and not a pile of shit.
Yeah.
But when they show you something like that, which just shows you nothing from the game, and again, this was 9 days ago, so this is the latest trailer.
My gosh.
And it showed you nothing.
No.
That's not going to make me want to spend money on the game. I want to see in-game footage. I want to see a developer take me through a mission in the game. This is what I want to see. I don't want to see this. But because it's been so heavily criticised, they're frightened to release footage. And the review window, so people that they're going to give the game to, they're only going to give it 4 days before the game's released. So with Outlaws, they gave publications a 2-week lead, which was a fucking mistake because when people started to see the actual game footage, they're like, nope. But then like this, they're giving press a 4-day lead, so they've only got 4 days to review the game, and this game's something like 50-60 hours long. So how are you going to review the game if you don't play it all the way through? So somebody's going to have to sit there
and analyze
everything in 4 days before the release, and people have pre-ordered it. Although the pre-orders they've gone down. I think the pre-orders for the last Assassin's Creed game was up 60% to this one. I think the pre-orders for this are very, very low.
And understandably.
I'd have to find numbers.
But just got to briefly touch upon about the hip-hop beats over the music when the character came into some of the other vids as well. The music wasn't a choice for some people as well.
Yeah, the hip-hop beats. I mean, like, there's been loads of animes in the past which have used hip-hop music. Afro Samurai, which is again a great fucking anime, but it's complete fiction. That is none of it's real.
Nothing depicts of anything from a previous history.
And you got Samurai Champloo as well. Again, all of it's a hip hop soundtrack, but it was all mixed in Japan, so it's like Japanese hip hop. But again, there's nothing wrong with the soundtrack. The soundtrack was great because it matched the vibe of the show. But this is like
The aesthetic and the music is
Assassin's
completely
Creed
different.
in feudal Japan, why the fuck is there hip-hop music?
Very good point there.
In all the games I've played, every Assassin's Creed game, from even the shit one, Rogue, that I couldn't fucking stand, with a guy that doesn't know what an Irish accent sounds like. Because he's like Welsh, Irish, Scottish, then back to Irish again.
Maybe that was what they were intending, Dan.
Well, if they were, let's get better fucking voice actor. I've played it through. I've played every Assassin's Creed game, and in every Assassin's Creed, except for the bits where you go into the future or present day, when you come out of the Animus, all the music supports or matches the time period, right? So this is the first game in the Assassin's Creed universe where they've used modern music to depict a character that's meant to be in feudal Japan. Now again, I'll say again, if it wasn't virtual signaling or if it wasn't DEI or Sweet Baby Inc., why the fuck is that in the game? If they just made a character completely like, I don't think anybody would really have, or Japan would not have a fucking issue with it if they just made up the character. If you want it to be black, awesome. If you want to make him black, cool. If he's a good character and he's got a good story, I'm still 100% on board with it. Again, it's not like they keep saying it's down to race. It's nothing to do with race, guys. It's nothing to do with sexuality. It's down to poor fucking writing.
Every time.
Poor writing, poor game design, poor story, poor everything. Everything's just poor. And we're so used to middle ground games and movies because we've been force-fed them now for the past 20 years. This is what we expect. So when we do get a diamond in the rough, i.e. Space Marine, Wukong, whatever, we're like, the fuck, why are we not getting this all the time? Because to get those games made, they've had to go through the fucking mill. If you go to, you can look, again, this is all fact, you can look it up on the internet. I'm not going to start trolling through loads of articles because it's boring as fuck, but you can look at this all on the internet as well. This is all fact. Wukong was targeted by Sweet Baby Inc. and woke media. It's the only way to or access media, whatever the fuck you want to call them. They were targeted and said, your game will never be a success because we're going to stop it from happening because you've got no diverse cast. It's all men. There's no women. You know, there's no people. There's nobody representing the community.
They weren't going to stand for
it's
it.
Ancient fucking China. Made by Chinese developers in China.
China.
Why would there be diversity in China? Like ancient China? It's fucking mind-boggling. Like, you just can't, like, what? And again, with Assassin's Creed, it's a push in feudal Japan that would be a black guy that's 6'6", walking around in samurai armor. I'm sorry. But if you want to get fucking technical or pedantic, but that aside, if he was completely fictional, without
Epic.
the fucking racist hip-hop beats behind the fucking... Because that's made it racist. Why the fuck has he got hip-hop beats? Why couldn't he just have awesome pan flute? Like the Japanese characters got, the chick. Why has it got to be hip-hop? It doesn't make any fucking sense. I just don't fucking get it. And I like this. I've been a developer. I was a developer for nearly 20 years. On and off. And I never had to... I've never, like, the mentality of the development world now is fucking insane. I'm hoping... And I think a lot of people are hoping as well that this is the tail end of it. Like, this is because again, these games have been in development now for 5, 6 years, 10 years, etc. So this is like the drips and drabs of the DEI bullshit that they've been trying to toss at everybody for the past 5 or 6 years. So we're hoping this is the end of it. And games like Wukong and Space Marine, where they are just about the narrative. They are just about the story. They are just about the characters. The good story, graphics, playability, gameplay, and that is what they're about. And there's nothing else to it. There's no message, there's no bullshit. You just get dropped in a fucking mess and have some fun. And that is what gaming should be. Gaming should be, you get lost in the story, you leave the real world behind, and then when you take your headphones off, you can go back to reality again. The fact that they're forcing reality into games is insanity. And then I'll end on the fact that games like Dragon Age that are putting stuff in like Top Surgery in a game where it's built around magic, where you could change your what you look like, male, female, just by drinking a potion. And the fact that they put in cellulite, Top Surgery, taking your penis off, putting your penis on, etc., that kind of stuff, it's got nothing to do with making a game exclusive. It's just perversion. These developers have just wanted to push the envelope as hard as they can to see if they can get away with it. And all you got to do is look at the lead developer and their rhetoric and what they're talking about and what they're trying to sell. They're just fucking insane. How they've been given a position of power in a AAA game is beyond me. Because if you did that 10 years ago, they would have been put in an asylum, because it's just fucking... everything they're saying is... it's just insane. It's just insane. How can you... People that have battled cancer, for instance, people that have battled cancer, I know people that have had... unfortunately had to have breasts removed due to breast cancer, etc. How's that going to make them feel when they want to play a game and have escapism and they've got to look at that fucking shit? That all that's put out the window. Or women that are curvaceous or, you know, supple, etc. You know, they got big boobies, got big bums, etc. But they can't make that character in the game because they've made every character look like a man, or flat-chested, or have no curves at all. You know, women and men want to play attractive characters. They don't want to look like a fucking ham beast with boss eyes that looks confused, or a massive fucking spam with horns on. They want to get lost in the narrative. They want to get lost in the fantasy. They want to be, you know, sexy as fuck bearded warlock or beautiful elven archer or whatever the fuck, because they want to be that they want to get lost in the fantasy. They don't want to be reminded of the fucking nuts, fucking weird shit that's going on in the world at the moment, and the fact you can just, like, again, if people don't agree with me, fair, but, and again, I don't see myself as a conservative, but I think they're just pushing it too fucking far now. I think, like, enough is enough. It's not making your game exclusive, it's alienating people from your game by making it the way you've made it. Definitely. Because nobody will fucking buy it. Nobody will buy. I mean, the pre-sales say it all. They've done a roundup of all the stores in Canada and America, and I think that was like 1,200 stores, and they've only had one pre-order on average per store. There's been a couple where there was 2 or 3.
My gosh.
So 1 to 2 pre-orders per shop, per game store in America and Canada. And that was done over 1,200 stores. And if that's not fucking saying something, people are seeing the content you're putting out, guys, and they're not liking it. And this is your audience. Your audience have been fans of Dragon Age since Origins, which is fucking 15 years ago.
It was 15 years ago.
And you're trying to push this fucking bullshit that nobody wants. And it's going to fail just like everything else has. It's not us being spiteful or out of order.
I think it's more them being
spiteful and out of order.
There's certain things, there's limitations of what you should and shouldn't put into gaming. And as you were quite rightly saying, it's fantasy, it's escapism. We don't need reminders of that. And it can be quite triggering for certain individuals, like you were saying. It's unnecessary. It's not something that adds to the story or adds to the characters or adds to the game in any capacity. It's just unnecessary. Yeah, and again, that's right. So, yeah, he has. Yeah, there's hip hop when he gets into a fight. Yeah.
When he gets into a battle scene, there's the hip hop plays. So it's not when he's walking around. It's only when he gets into a fight. The hip hop beats drop every time. But it could be because there's bits in the game where you got to play a mini game where you got to hone your samurai sword skills. So you got to slice through stuff. So when he's doing that as well, hip hop beats. But when a Japanese character does it, pan flute.
So it should be
wind
the same.
chimes, you know, so stuff that would be from feudal Japan, like those kind of instruments, right? I don't think you'd have fucking MC or DJ Lethal in the back doing fucking scratching and shit in feudal Japan, would you?
You don't know.
I mean, DJ Lethal could be 497 years old. Who fucking knows? That was just a random, or I don't know. The Elephant Man. Pick any hip hop DJ, like just
Snoop
pick one out
Dogg.
of the fucking. Well, he's not a DJ, he's an
No.
MC, but just pick one out of the fucking
Doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. And again, the same with Dragon Age. They bastardized the gaming industry and tried to change it to their mental narrative. And all it's going to do is hurt the industry, because all these people that have worked on that game for the past 10 years are going to lose their jobs because the game's not going to sell.
And that's the part we're trying to avoid, is people
The
losing their
proof
jobs.
is in the fucking pudding, guys. The game is not... You've got no pre-orders. Like the last Inquisition, wasn't it? The last Dragon Age game.
Yes.
If I pulled up numbers, I'm sure the pre-orders would have been in the thousands. I wasn't a massive fan of Inquisition. I thought there was too much running about. But I wasn't a massive fan of number 2 either. I thought you were just stuck in fucking caverns and tunnels all the time. The best Dragon Age game for me was Origins, because it had the nice balance of horror and fantasy, and I thought it was perfect. I really liked the story. I love the characters. And what the fuck have they done to Morrigan, man? She looks awful.
Oh
She
my
looks
gosh.
like my ugly, I don't know, my gay aunt Travis or whatever the fuck we called her.
Let's call her your gay Aunt Carol.
No, my gay Aunt Carol, yeah. They've made Morrigan look like my gay Aunt Carol. They're calling historical but using hip-hop music. Yeah, man, like, Engine, this doesn't make any fucking sense. No, like, it's not... Again, with us, both of us, we are what you see, you know, like, we don't mince words, etc., etc. We've got no weird fucking secret plan to overthrow, you know, like, we're not doing it for that. We're just saying, like, this is just madness. Like, the people need to see it from a neutral perspective. We're looking at it and it's just like, what the fuck is this shit? None of this makes sense. None of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. None of the choices make sense. None of the rhetoric they're trying to put. None of it makes fucking sense. There's so much virtual signaling in this fucking Dragon Age game. It makes me want to puke. And if the LGBT are openly coming out en masse and saying, this is not what we asked for, come on, guys. So who the fuck is this game for then? If it's not for the gay community, if it's not for the straight community, who the fuck is this game for? Because I'm telling you now, there's no other audience than that. If you're just making it for your weird fucking blue-haired buddies that won't buy the game anyway, because they're not gamers. They're not here to be gamers. They're not here to support the space. They're here to burn it down because your ideals don't match with theirs. They need something to clamp onto. They need something to burn down, because that is how they operate as people. Because they're not people. They're not nice people. These are horrible fucking individuals. These are people that were bullied at school. These are people that have been trodden on their entire lives. So instead of becoming better people for it, because a lot of us were bullied because we were geeks or gay or whatever. I was bullied at school because I was a geek, but luckily I was also a brick shithouse rugby player, so I didn't take... But my mates were bullied. My mates were beaten up. They had their heads kicked in because they were playing D&D. They were talking about Star Trek. They were talking about Star Wars. You know, and it wasn't an accepted space. So we know what it's like to get bullied. We know what it's like to get our heads kicked in. But we've come out all right. We've not come out wanting to hate everybody and hate everything and piss on everybody's cornflakes just because we don't agree with what you're saying. We've not done that. Like, I could point out everybody in chat right now on every platform. I can guarantee that everybody's been bullied in some shape or form. Doesn't matter what it is. But it's made them stronger for it. And now they've come out as better individuals because they know what it's like to get bullied, so they don't feel the need to do the same to other people. If instead they embrace people, they help people, and they're just better people for it.
Here.
Yeah? Instead of just being fucking arseholes and pissing on everybody's cornflakes because they don't agree with getting their penis or getting gender affirmation surgery. Gender affirming surgery in a game just makes no fucking sense.
No sense at all.
It's not even if it like a push if it was a futuristic game like Cyberpunk. All right, okay, all right, fair, because it probably would be about. But in a game like Dragon Age, where it's all built around magic and there isn't science like that in that time period, and you can just drink a fucking potion or morph it. I mean, you can turn into a fucking cat, a dog, a bear, an eagle, but you can't turn into a woman by drinking a potion or casting a spell, or you can't turn into a man by casting a spell. So why couldn't that be a thing?
Food for thought.
There we go.
So let's say...
Gay Aunt Travis. Gay Aunt Travis fits what they want to go for it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So as a general consensus of Assassin's Creed Shadows, do you think you'd play it? Do you think you'll give it a go if it gets released?
No.
No.
No, I'm not supporting the... I'm not supporting this anymore.
No.
I want things to change, and I think everybody else does. I think if you want to play the game, more power to you. I'm not going to say against. I know there's a few people in the chat that are very far left, which is fine. Again, your political views don't make me see you any less as a person. But for me personally, pandering to this is just going to make them make more games like this until they get the hard message that we won't have this in the gamer space. Because again, gaming is supposed to be inclusive, and what they're peddling makes it so far from fucking inclusive. It's mind-boggling, because what they're preaching is hypocrisy. They're not preaching anything. They're just preaching bullshit. If they wanted to be inclusive, they wouldn't put shit like that in the game.
Definitely.
They'd put in gay relationships, which I completely agree with, because again, if it makes sense to the story and it makes sense to the character, fucking crack on. But if you're just doing it to shoehorn in a message, it will never work. It will fall flat. People will see through it, and they won't buy your fucking game, which is what's going to happen with this again. Now, I'm an avid supporter of the community, but again, I've spoken to many people in the community, and I've seen many people online, and they're all saying, we do not ask for this bullshit. This is not what we're about. This is not what we fought for. This is bullshit. What they say?
Manipulation.
Manipulative, gaslighting rhetoric that's just fucking up kids because they think this is normal when it's not. And we need to get in our heads that this was all pushed by the corporate sector to segregate us and to keep us infighting. Because the rich want us fighting between each other. They want us to fight each other. Because when we fight each other, we don't come together and then fight them. So the more that we're distracted by bullshit, P. Diddy, this bullshit, movies, games, American politics, the shit that's going on in Brazil right now, the more we're distracted by it, the more that we ignore what they're doing behind the scenes. And as soon as we put a stop to all of this, we'll all come together again and then start questioning what the fuck they're doing. And that's when they're going to be in trouble. The revolution is going to happen at some point, and I'm hoping it's sooner rather than later, because more people are waking up every single day, and I really hope that it will bring us together as people, so we stop the infighting, we stop the fucking nonsense racial bullshit, because it's them that's fucking saying this shit. It's not us, because we don't give a like 9 times out of 10, nobody gives a fuck where you're from, who you are, as long as you're a good person, you know. That's how I've always lived. If you're a good guy, if you're a good person, I'm with you. If you're a twat, fuck off. And I've always lived by that. And I don't give a shit who you are, where you're from, what your sexuality is. If you're a good person, I'm 100% on board with you. But as soon as you start becoming a twat and pushing this shit on kids, then you're not with me, you're against me. And you're against everybody else that's just trying to get by and live a normal life. Yeah, anyway.
I think the
Board
chat...
meeting, like the concept, it's good, but you're missing something. What's the agenda? Thus ends gaming society. Yeah. Hey, MG, welcome in, man. Welcome in. I appreciate you coming and sounding.
Hey, everyone in chat. We appreciate you hanging out with us. It's definitely topics that need to be spoken about, and I think you said that very eloquently. it is a mixture of just ignoring all of the excess noise and just concentrating on what needs to be focused on. There's too much noise, and we need to.
Yeah, there is too much noise, and it's not. A lot of the time, it's not explained, so it's just very ambiguous. It's not explained. It's confusing. You don't know who to side with because you don't know who's right and who's wrong. I think a lot of it is just down to common sense now. You kind of make the decision yourself. You know, what we might see as issues, what we might see as problems, might not be a problem to you. I've had talks with people the past couple of days that don't give a shit about any of this. They just want to enjoy the game. It's like, that's my point. My counter argument to that would be, but you're going to keep getting terrible games like this unless you do stop buying the game or stop, you know, like the cycle's got to be broken. And I'm hoping Concord losing $400 million for Sony, and you know, Dustborn losing $85 million for.
It's going to start getting to them at some point.
You know, jobs are going to start disappearing, and I'm hoping that the people that don't give a shit do start giving a shit, because there aren't going to be any fucking developers left or studios left to make any games. Because there's going to be nothing left to play. Because the industry is going to crash inside itself. It's just going to die. There won't be any studios left, because there'll be no money men willing to pump money into it, because it doesn't make a profit. So we'll be back in the late 90s where there was a game drought, where there was nothing to play because nobody had any fucking money. And nobody wanted to pump money into the gaming sector. It didn't start healing again until 2004, 2005. And then, so that was 6-7 years without any decent games released.
It's a long
few,
while.
but nowhere near the number that used to be released. And the same thing will happen again. Because you can say indies, yeah, but the indie section still needs funding and still needs investment. The money needs to come from somewhere. And without investment, indie games don't get made either. AA games don't get made either. So something's got to change somewhere, or you know, we're going to be back here in 6 months' time with nothing to talk about, because no games are being released. There's no films being released because nobody's got any money.
That'd be a sad time.
Yeah, I mean, Transformers 1 is doing really well for Paramount, and that's amazing. We still can't fucking find it anywhere in English, which is annoying. We want to go see it.
If we're able to, definitely we'll be giving our review on that for sure.
As a Transformers fan, I'd love to go see it. I've seen critics I've been following for years give it an amazing review, saying it's the best thing since the '86 movie.
Which is a very big compliment.
Big fucking nod. And these are all fans of G1, and they say it's phenomenal when it really fleshes out the relationship between Megatron and Optimus Prime. Which is, I mean, again, it's been explored in the comics, but never really on the show or the movies. So, yeah.
Can't wait to go and see that.
The world is a mess, MG. Unfortunately, yes, mate. It is a fucking mess, and I don't think I'm hoping 2024 is the year where people wake up finally, and I think a lot of the money people are, and I think the success and miss rate of stuff that is making money and the stuff that isn't making money, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. Numbers don't lie, guys. You can have all the varieties and Hollywood Reporters and IGN say what the fuck they want, but the proof is in the numbers. The numbers don't lie. So as soon as the numbers are released, it doesn't fucking matter what they say. If the game's a failure, the game's a failure. It needs to make back at least what it was cost to make it with a minimal profit. If it's not making back anything, then it's seen as a massive loss. And that massive loss has a huge knock-on effect to the rest of the industry. And then people lose jobs. Studios get shut down. And again, it's all down to a small minority of the internet, and they are very fucking small. But unfortunately, they've been given the loudest voices because the access media has given them the loudest voices. And until we start telling them to go fuck themselves and just fuck off, that's never going to change. Just stand up for yourself. If you start getting bullied on the internet, just fire back. Or better, just ignore it. Just don't even fire back. It's like, all right, yeah, nice one, mate. Put your thumb up and just leave it. And eventually they get bored. Because again, they'll find something else to move on to. because at the moment it's popular culture. But as soon as they're done with us,
It'll be the
they'll move
next
on to
thing.
something else.
And then the next thing. And then the next thing.
And the next thing. But they will always be an entity that will latch onto something they know nothing about just to push their message, because that is what they do. And they've been given way too, because they started on popular culture, because they started on movies and they started on gaming, it was seen as a positive thing to let somebody in their community become a spokesperson. So like this trans person saying this even though it's complete bullshit and terrible virtue signaling that makes no sense, they let them say it anyway. And then they say, you're so brave for saying that. While you got the LGBT, the real community going, hold on, we said that back in the 90s when we were fighting for our rights and trying to get shot and put away for having a relationship with our partner. And then you got these twats that are celebrated for saying the stuff that we were saying back in the 90s, or saying saying the complete opposite, but still getting celebrated. And it's just, it's got to stop.
That's got to stop.
It's got to stop. Because what the fuck did they fight for? They didn't fight for this. They fighted for equality. They fighted for
bringing people together, not separating them.
Exactly. Just so it just became part of society. But this will never become part of society because it's built and made and spouted from the wrong place, and it's not said from a good place. It's said from a toxic place. Yeah.
And I don't use that word a lot, but it is a toxic one. But briefly touching on you saying about toxicity and things like that, something that I suppose is kind of positive for some child stars. There's a series on Hulu that's being done by Demi Lovato. There's loads of child actors I think are worth mentioning in it. You've got Christina Ricci, you've got Raven Simone. I think some people might remember Kenan Thompson, Jojo Siwa. It looks really interesting. Nothing's been released of it yet, but if you're wanting to look at an insight of how they got through all their growing up in the media or growing up, it seems to be getting rave reviews on Hulu. So if you're a Hulu watcher, Child Stars coming out this week.
Hopefully I get put over here so we can watch it as well.
Exactly. It seems very interesting. They all talk about the rise and the falls of their all their trials and tribulations that they've had growing up being in the media. I didn't know that Kenan Thompson had a whole thing where he lost a lot of money and he had to go from rags to riches, and he explains that with SNL, etc. And obviously being on Kenan and Kel and etc. And it seems really interesting. Drew Barrymore's part of the show, and they were all just talking really candidly about it. And it seems like a very positive movement in them trying to get over whatever they grew up with. So if you want to check that out sometimes, guys, there you go on Hulu.
Nice. Okay. So on that note, we've actually gone on longer than we thought we would, which is great. This is great first episode.
Yeah.
So 3 hours and 27 minutes.
Whoa. We've
Guys,
chatted.
if you haven't seen the entire episode, please go back and watch it. It does help us out. We really need your help to boost the signal at the moment because we are just starting out again. We do want to do this. We are going to be doing this on a weekly basis. So Saturdays is now going to be the weekly show live. But without your help, we can't continue doing this. So share the video when it goes up. Comment, like, subscribe. Honestly, do everything on the videos. It makes a huge difference to us. The more support we get, the more we can do. We want to start doing, as Zarbek said earlier, we want to start doing episodic content where we cover shows that we really like and we can talk about them. So, but there'll be short fire episodes, so we're talking like 20, 30 minutes each. We've got another show as well that we want to do, which is going to be Hollywood You Should Make This, where we look at old properties going as far back as the 40s and 50s, where we talk about how they could be made for or switch for the modern day audience and made into like a show or a game or comic or whatever. And then at the end of it, we discuss, and then you guys have your opinion at the end of it as well. So it should be fun.
If you do want to support us further as well, guys, we are on Ko-fi. So if you wanted, when we're not streaming or we're not doing the weekly show, you can always support us on there as well. We're the same name everywhere. So if you want to check that out as well, that helps support us in very many ways.
Also, you can become a member on YouTube. Obviously, now there's a lot of content, or there will be a lot of content going up on YouTube.
Ooh.
You can keep abreast of what we're doing. Co-fines and super members on YouTube get to see, especially pre-recorded content, you get to see it a day before anybody else. So your comments will always be top of the page. And also you get to discuss with us in the community what you'd like to see. Give us ideas of what you want us to do or what you want us to cover. If there's anything in the news you want us to talk about as well, because again, it's your show, guys. When I first started this show, it's a show for the fans. It's a show for the community. You tell us what you want us to talk about,
And we'll
then we
talk
put
about
it,
it.
and we'll talk about it in the show. Because again, without you, there is no show. Without your support, there is no show. And we want to keep this going because we do really enjoy it. I've been wanting to do this now for a couple of years, but I've not been well enough to do it. But with Cog's help, it's taken me a while to put it together, but I have been able to finally put together this, which is what we want to be doing. So it's great to be back doing the weekly show.
It's great to have you back.
It's weird.
Gay!
It's weird to be it's weird to be doing it in like a podcast format because we always did it in front of a studio audience. But it's great seeing you guys respond in chat, etc. It does keep us going. So again, like always respond, always give your opinions because we will pick up on it. Yeah, and again, just remember, like, comment, subscribe, share the video everywhere, guys. It really does make a difference for us. Eventually, we will be doing an exclusive with Beam. So if you're not following us on Beam, make sure you please follow us on Beam because we'll be doing most of the show on every other platform. And then we'll be shutting down and then doing the last hour on Beam. So if you want to follow the entire show or watch us all the way through, make sure you follow us on Beam. So that's really important. I just want to give a shout out to KittenCog.
To me.
Because you've been absolutely amazing. So give her a crowd cheer.
Loved every minute. This is awesome.
I think the most phenomenal thing about doing the weekly show again is that I get to do it with my best friend. So it does make a difference. And it's been a lot of fun. And she shared that she'd be crap at it, but I think she's done very well. And I'm very impressed. Well done, honey.
Oh,
very well.
thank you. Thanks for having me.
But yeah, it is the OptimusDan and KittenCog show. It might be my fat head on the main screen, but it's always KittenCog as well. So, but yeah, again, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I love talking about this shit. I love, sorting out the bullshit. Showing everybody what the access media is saying, what's bullshit, what's not, talking about the industry. I've got a lot of industry knowledge that I love imparting on other people and talking about it and breaking down the barriers. And there's so much bullshit out there at the moment, guys, that's separating us as individuals and as people that we just need to break through and come together, man, because a lot of it's so superficial that doesn't fucking matter. And the world's so shit at the moment, we're stronger together than we are apart. And it might sound a bit flim-flam, but
It's
honestly,
true.
I believe this. I think we're going to need each other more than ever, especially in the upcoming next couple of years that we're going to be going through. And if we got this space, we got the show, we can boost the signal, we can talk about what we want to talk about, and not be worried about being silenced or curtailed, or with us, you can always rely on us to tell the truth and not bullshit, and just tell you how it is because we do the research, and yeah, but yeah, we do really appreciate everybody coming in. We appreciate the comments. We appreciate the trolling as well because it still boosts the numbers. So thanks for that. And again, help us help you, and help us by sharing, commenting, liking. It does make a huge difference, honestly, guys. 10 likes, 20 likes, it elevates the video. We can then see where the numbers are, what the high points of the show is, and then edit the show obviously, or cultivate the show in more of a format that people enjoy more. Maybe less waffling from me, maybe less soapboxing from me. Unless you enjoy the soapboxing, then I will soapbox all fucking day.
You've
if you
got
like.
to comment and let us know what you love and what you don't like, guys.
Your comments, your input mean everything. Without it, we don't know what the fuck we're doing, and we don't know if we're doing it right or doing it wrong. So, please, if you go on YouTube, if you haven't followed us on YouTube, make sure you go follow us on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Like, physically share the video on Facebook, Twitter. Share it to your mates. Just so we can start really building a momentum.
And if you see us on the socials, if you see us on the Twitters or the Instagrams, throw us a follow. That helps as well. Any support that you can lend, guys, to making this happen and to making us still do the thing that we love doing and creating the community that Dan is so hard in keeping together, as well as bringing everybody together, would make a difference. And I really do believe in what Dan is trying to do. So if you can support in any way, it would be amazing.
All right, guys, on that note, we're going to end it there. I think that's a good place to end it.
Yeah. First episode. Let's go.
First episode, yeah. So a round of applause to everybody as well. Right, let's go. And one of those. Yeah, one of these. So, yeah, again, most importantly, guys, share, comment, like, subscribe. Do your thing. You know what you're doing. You've been doing this for a long time, a lot of you. And we'll see you same time next week. Obviously, we're back to streaming again tomorrow. So we won't be online at 9:30. I don't know what the fuck we're playing. We're not decided yet. We'll be playing something. You'll be doing something. So, again, if you can help us out with our goal, because it is coming quite very quickly approaching the end of the month. We've only got to the 30th this month. If we can get to that 100 subs, guys, it does make all the difference, because we're going to be struggling next month otherwise. So if you haven't subscribed, or if you haven't joined the community, etc., you can also, again, you can sub to us on YouTube. You can give us stars on Facebook, bitties on Twitch, because it all helps. I would say bitties on Twitch because they take such a huge chunk of the subscription model.
But
so
we have
bitties.
only got a little bit left of September, so if you want to get involved with that as well.
So you've got stars on Facebook. You've got the supers if you want to tip on YouTube, but also the memberships. You've also got the subs on Kick, obviously, and then bitties on Twitch. So if you want to help us out in any way, guys, that's the best way to do it. And again, thank you very much. We'll stop rambling out. Ko-Fi as well, of course. Ko-Fi. Really important. The more Ko-Fines we get, the better we are off during the duration of the month. So, because it helps us out every now and again. We get like a cheeky $5 every now and again, and it does really help out. Helps us fill the car up or get shopping, whatever. On that note, guys, thank you very much for joining us. It's a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from me.
She's never watched the two Ronnies.
It's a goodbye from him.
But yeah, guys, thanks very much. Everyone have a really good rest of Saturday. And check out the outro. Hopefully it works. I hope it does. Fingers crossed. Bye.
Bye.